It's October 18, that was a win against Denmark. Anthony Ralston, of course, making his first start for Scotland. So it is a backline that has never played before, but over the piece, and you look at the individuals and you look at their respective talents, Willie, it's a unit that I've got to say I think most people would look at and think, yeah, that looks decent, doesn't it?
It's a very strong unit, I think, Richard, because you can all defend as well as being, good on the ball. And there's a bit of youth in there as well, isn't there? It's not, and the players that have had good seasons. We did speak about that against Ukraine. It's not, players that have had bad seasons, particularly the back three. These guys have all had good seasons. They're up and coming. They should be trying to embrace this opportunity to, get in front of the manager and really make a statement tonight. We talk about Armenia, but we can't consider anything other than a victory this evening, can we? Really, I know we have had disappointments in the past. I think a draw would be a really poor result for us at home, but I can't contemplate us not, at least a draw, and I think that we will win it. I think we're strong enough, and getting that Ukraine performance behind us and lifting the tempo and getting into a new campaign as well, that can be really important. And we've got to take the full 3 points here tonight.
What you also see, I think, Craig, is you look at that lineup, and as I generally do, to tally up the caps, it's very similar in terms of caps and goals, very similar to the team that started against Ukraine in that respect in terms of experience. There is obviously the perennial issue of scoring goals. It's 30 goals across the 10 outfield players, and almost half of that, of course, has come from John McGinn. But again, it's a measure of the pool that Steve Clarke has at his disposal, isn't it? That he can make 6 changes and come out with a fairly similar level of experience and a fairly similar mix.
Yes, I think the squad is good, and we've touched on that in previous matches. We go through it and they're all playing at good levels. There are obviously one or two that are slightly better, but I look at this squad and I think it's Steve's picked what I would consider to be the right team here. If we're going to have a lot of the ball, I think there's just about every player in that team is comfortable in possession. I think that's really important, particularly in the back line where you start your attacks. So I'm really pleased with this and what I see so far. I mean, the game is still to sort of unfurl itself, but this minute in time, I think the system's the one that he's employed many occasions. The players know it very, very well, and I'm actually more excited about watching the game now than I was previously.
The players are back up inside. I've got to say, there is you look around the stadium, wow, it's going to be, if it's half of what we had last week, I'm not sure it'll even get there. And who can blame the fans? Partly, of course, because of the disappointment of last week, but because of the issues and the fact that the warning has been put out by ScotRail that essentially the last train leaves long before the final whistle if you're trying to get back to Glasgow city centre. And despite the suggestion in Parliament today that fans prefer to walk back to the heart of Glasgow, probably not when it's peeing down as it is right now.
Is that what was said?
That was a suggestion of Jenny Gilruth, I think.
Prefer to walk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's novel. Yeah, I love walking when it's blowing a gale and you get absolutely drowned. It's fantastic crack.
I think she missed the point, though. It's not the case that they like to walk. It's the case that they should have the choice between getting the train and walking.
Of course.
That's the point.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, for goodness sake, if you can't get the train home, why would you come? I mean, it's just impossible.
There'll be so many stories about fans who are just simply giving up their tickets. They're not even going to go through the horrendous upheaval. Many will be listening in, I'm sure, to us this evening, and we'll bring you the best commentary right here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. It is the start to the UEFA Nations League campaign. Scotland against Armenia. They've kicked off already with a 1-0 win against Ireland. Scotland getting up and running against their visitors this evening. It's a pretty dreary night now. The rain is on again, the cloud cover a bit thicker. The players will be emerging shortly. Let's just quickly hear, shall we, from the manager Steve Clarke, chatting to reporters, including our own Brian McLaughlin, in the build-up to this one.
It is a new tournament, so it's another tournament. It's one that we want to do well in, and if we can manage to finish top of the section and get into the A group for the next round of Nations League matches, then that would obviously be another sign of the progress that I think that we're making.
Steve, how much analysis do you look at last Wednesday and what went wrong? And during the game, when did you realise it wasn't quite working?
I think you're watching the game and you're thinking that Ukraine were better than us on the night. Analysis is what we do. That's part of the process. We go away, we look at it, but you have to move on to the next game, and rather than harken back, I know you guys want to go back all the time, but me and the players, we want to look forwards.
How do you feel about the criticism that's come your way, Steve, in the last week or so? There's been some criticism from some Scotland managers of the past, some former players in the past, who were critical of the tactics, for example, last week.
They're entitled to their opinion.
And how do you feel about their opinion?
I don't know what it was because I didn't read it, I didn't hear it, I didn't listen to it. I deal with games and disappointments in my own way.
And how do you deal with them then? How do you deal with that? Is it you just park it?
I go to my wee happy place.
Where is that?
I'm not telling you.
Go on, come on. The country wants to know, Steve, how, because the country have been hurting, as I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah, we've all been hurting, but you have to move on. So Armenia, focused on that.
What do you make of Armenia then at the weekend?
Good. I thought they were good at the weekend. I sat and watched the game live. I thought they were good in the game. Obviously, you could see they'd maybe suffered a little bit for their friendly defeat in March, which was a heavy defeat. It took them 30 minutes to settle into the game, and then once they settled into the game, they were good and deserved their win.
Was it a surprise to you, their performance?
No, I think when you analyse, obviously they got promotion from League C to get to League B, so they obviously had a really good tournament. They finished above North Macedonia in that group, and North Macedonia are the team that knocked Italy out of the World Cup, so to do that, they're pretty decent.
And finally from me then, Steve, looking ahead, the next major tournament is 2 years' time, the World Cup, obviously a further 2 years. What do you need to achieve to ensure that it's you that's taking Scotland to the next World Cup?
Well, my contract runs out when our interest in Euro 2024 runs out, so it's probably a good idea to qualify for Euro 2024.
Do you feel that that's a must for you to try?
I don't know if it's a must. You'd have to ask my boss who's that.
Steve Clarke with Brian McLaughlin. Well, let's hope Euro 2024 is indeed Steve Clarke's wee happy place. 3 years ago, he took charge of the national team for the first time, June 8, 2019. A 2-1 win against Cyprus. Ole Burke. Whatever happened to Ole Burke with an 89th minute winner late on in that one. He certainly had to come through a few torrid performances, those back-to-back thumpings at the hands of Belgium and Russia, but my goodness, he's had a couple of excellent long unbeaten runs, just having a wee wobble at the moment. Over the piece though, Tom, you've got to say the 3 years have been successful. Was Steve Clarke as Scotland manager?
They've definitely improved without a doubt. Some very good performances. The Denmark performance made us all believe that they were really, really moving forward, capable of beating Ukraine and going to Cardiff and maybe putting it up to Wales, but all of that petered out. I think there's still a bit of shock around the national team, the way Scotland performed, the way they underperformed, they dropped their levels, picked the wrong team, formation, all the rest of it. But if you look at it in the round, yeah, they have improved, no question. Maybe not as much as we thought. Maybe we kind of overestimated them. Certainly the performance against Ukraine has made me reconsider my views on some of these players and on Steve Clarke himself, because that's a game, that's a World Cup game. It's another 4 years before Scotland get hopefully another shake at it at that level, so close, 2 games away. It's 4 years, and I think they blew the opportunity. I'm not saying a very good Scotland would have beaten Ukraine, they might have, but Scotland were terrible on the day, and we know that they're better than that. So, I think Scotland are definitely in a better place now, but they could have been in an even better place.
Success and improvement, no, Tom, is about qualifying for major tournaments, isn't it? And I think that's why it's been successful, is that we've qualified for a major tournament the first time for a long, long time, but we've also went out of one just recently, which is, hard to take. And that is the premier one. That is the one that you want to take part in. So, I don't think there's any feeling within the nation of change in terms of Steve Clarke. Absolutely not.
There is a false narrative about, people calling for his head, and maybe that's where Steve Clarke was coming from. Nobody in the media is calling for his head. Maybe on Twitter, in the Wild West of Twitter, people are. but no pundit or journalist is calling for his head. People are supporting of Steve Clarke. They can see the job he's done, but they're just disappointed, and they have to call the Ukraine defeat for what it was. And here's a new beginning now, a new competition. Let's go.
The players are emerging down below us. A few more fans have made their way in, still considerably short of last week's tally, but I guess it's going to be more than 30,000 inside the stadium, and fair credit to all who have come along what is a filthy night and given the circumstances. Time now for the anthems. Respectful round of applause from the Scotland fans for the Armenian national anthem as everyone prepares for Flower of Scotland. It is the UEFA Nations League. It's League B, Group 1. Scotland getting their campaign up and running at home to Armenia in Dublin. It's the Republic of Ireland taking on Ukraine, of course, in the same group. It is not a pleasant night on the south side of Glasgow. The rain is tumbling from the leaden skies. But let's hope Scotland can put in the kind of performance that they failed to do last week and get things up and running and just give all the Scottish football fans a bit of a boost again. The players are lining up for the team photos. The pitch is being cleared of all the paraphernalia, and the whole game is coming up live here on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland. More to come from Tom English right now. Settle back and enjoy commentary with Craig Levine, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
Scotland beginning their third Nations League campaign after seeing their World Cup qualification failure extend to a sixth tournament. They'd reached 6 of the previous 7 as well, and 5 in a row between 74 and 90. Halcyon days indeed. But the inaugural Nations League provided the Scots with their Euro 2020 playoffs after finishing top of a section including Israel and Albania. And the good news is if they finish top of this section, and we'll know that by the end of September, after the triple header in the autumn, then they would guarantee themselves a playoff semi-final before the start of Euro 2024 qualifying, which is next March. up against another proud former Soviet nation in Armenia tonight. They've had some stellar results in their history over the last 3 decades, including a couple of big wins. Even held Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal once upon a time when they were under Ian Porterfield's tutelage. Scotland will kick off in the rain, left to right, all in navy, with white and red flashes, shooting left to right as we watch from the back of the main stand. And indeed, kick off here at Hampden. The Scots shooting east, Armenia all in white in their change kits this evening, shooting towards the Mount Florida end of the stadium. As Suter gets a touch and finds Ralston, who's making his first start for the Scots. Long time coming, you would have to say. He's been magnificent this season as Ralston heads on looking for Armstrong, and then it's hooked away down in this near side by camo of Hanisyan, who plays with Astana in the Kazakh capital Nur-Sultan, and it's all the way back with Scott McKenna, who turns it out to the skipper Robertson, one of 5 survivors from the Ukraine game, as he passes it back to Scott McKenna, moves it left to right of the centre circle, and now it's Suter Jack Hendry playing as the middle focal point of the Scottish defence. Tonight's rolled along the deck to Armstrong, back to Jack Hendry, and out it comes to McKenna. You would expect this game to develop into a pattern where the Scots have lots of the ball. Armenia sitting already with that bank of 5 at the back, as they did against the Irish on Saturday afternoon in baking Yerevan, as McGinn finds Armstrong and rolled back the way to Suter. He's right in the centre circle, big pinged switch of play with the right foot, which is headed away over on the far side by Hambardzumian, and then into the middle it's Artak Grigorian of Alashkert who gets it clear, and then the handball is given as the long ball was controlled by Versegyan just to the far side of the pitch there in the Scotland half. Free kick to the Scots. They would love, Craig Levine, an early goal.
Yes, they've started reasonably well, I think, Liam. The certainly use of the ball from the back's been good. Yeah, you can see the definite sort of 5-3-2 shape, and they just collapse back, so there's very little space between the lines.
Suter picking it up, scored that memorable goal against the Danes last November. In his last Scottish appearance, many felt he should have started against the Ukrainians. Here's Jack Hendry, title winner in Belgium this season, and he's sprayed it out to Armstrong on the near side. Out to Ralston, level with the edge of the D, gets away from a couple of challenges. His cross is knocked away there though by the skipper. Haroyan breaks to McGinn, angle ball into the box. Robertson tries to get his head onto it, comes off the defender, and the game's first corner goes Scotland's way in the 3rd minute. Willie Miller, 0-0.
That's a very decent ball into the box, isn't it? And Andy Robertson up there trying to get his head on it. Doesn't manage to do that, but gets the corner. I mean, they are so deep. I wouldn't expect them to play quite as deep as what they are.
Yeah, this is what they did on Saturday. They soaked up everything the Republic of Ireland could muster and then hit them in the second half. Christie will take the corner. It's a low one, low into the box for Adams, who gets away from his man. He's forced out wide though. Rolls it to the left-hand side for McGinn, who overhits the cross, and that will skip away and out for a throw-in to the Armenians on this near side. Jack Hendry could keep it in. 3 minutes in, Scotland 0, Armenia 0.
Well, they don't have anyone up top at present. I mean, basically they're playing without a striker. There's one trying to make a movement up there, but even at that, you know, the Scottish back 3 are about 10 yards, you know, outside their own half into the Armenia half as well. So, you know, the pattern of the game is definitely going to be, can Scotland break the opposition down?
Yeah, their main striker, Adamian, is wearing the number 22. He has Bundesliga experience. He was on loan at Jack Hendry's Club Bruges last season from Hoffenheim. So few players out there are playing in top divisions for Armenia. As Christie picks up some loose ball, it's been given away and it's picked up there on that far side of the pitch, and Armenia trying to make something of this, but Christie's done well. He reacted to giving the ball away, fights back, wins it back, and finds Robertson. Craig.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting there that the striker broke forward and the rest of the team just let him go. They didn't even try to back him up, so you could very much tell what the tactics are today.
Again, back into the centre circle there for Hendry, who finds McKenna promoted to the English Premier League with Nottingham Forest after that playoff win over Huddersfield 10 days ago. Those memories will still be fresh for McKenna. as McGinn picks up in the midfield and finds McGregor, rolls it out to Robertson, 3 who started last week. Robertson looks up, crosses in too high for Adams. It's going to be knocked back by Ralston, and in just wide from Stuart Armstrong, who hit it first time from round about the right angle of the 6-yard box, and it just kisses the base of the post, I think, on its way behind for the goal kick. It stays 0-0 on 4.5.
Yeah, that would have been a real lift, this early in the game, less than 5 minutes on the clock. If that one would have nestled in the back of the net, and a good move down the left-hand side, cross to the back, and then, the strike and goal that just scrapes the far post. Big chance, good opportunity. A bit unlucky actually not to see it nestle in the back of the net.
Yeah, and it was Ralston, wasn't it, Willie, that played the ball back across the goal. And having Christie and Armstrong in the team along with a striker, for me, sends out the message that we're going to get a lot of people forward. We're moving the ball as quickly as we need to. The pitch is good for that. There's a little bit of water on top of it. So yeah, it's been a good start by Scotland.
Yeah, and it's great to see Ralston in there. I've seen a lot of him this season. His resurrection at Celtic Park has been something to behold, and he's on the ball here looking to work the 1-2 with Armstrong. He couldn't quite return it to Ralston, and it's going to be picked up here for Armenia by Haroyan, who clears it up the line, and now they've got a man driving down the left-hand side, but it's a poor pass forward there by Saturday's goal scorer Spertian, who took his goal very well, albeit the Republic of Ireland gave him the freedom of Yerevan to run to the edge of the penalty area before he unleashed a terrific shot into the net. As Scotland pick up with Robertson, short low ball into McGregor, to Christie, back to McGregor, then out to the left there for Robertson. Here's Callum McGregor again. He's poking it back to McKenna. 6 in, nothing each, as Jack Hendry collects in the centre circle and rolls it to his right for Suter. Midway inside Armenian territory, he finds Ralston on the touchline. Ralston back there to Suter, back to Hendry, forward to McGinn, first time back out along the grass to Suter on the near side. The Scots popping it about confidently here. McGinn goes with the angle ball again, looking for Robertson, finding Robertson. This cross comes in, skipped away there by Haroyan out to this near side, kept in play by Ralston. Now it's with Armstrong. The Scots playing with a good bit of pace about them here. Armstrong driving away from his man into the penalty area. He goes, showed a little bit too much of it to Arman Hovanjan, and he gets it clear and out for a Scotland throw-in taken by Suter as he bowls it back to Hendry. Good pace about the Scots here.
Yeah, definitely a good tempo, really positive. Everybody taking responsibility, passing slick as well.
Great play by Ralston, shuffles away from his man, low ball in, missed by Adams and Christie, breaks to Robertson across the face of goal. Has the keeper got a touch to that? I think he has. It is a corner. Goes down as a really good save. He's got left fingertips on the ground to that to deny the Scotland skipper, and it stays 0-0.
That's incredible, isn't it? The amount of pressure and how poorly, although they've got plenty of bodies here, how poorly they are defending.
Christie, cross ball in, sorry Willie, and it's come off McKenna's head back towards the edge of the box, but the bounce doesn't favour McGinn, but it comes bouncing back off Haroyan, and Scotland have it back with Robertson on the far side. Fabulous build-up play by the Scots, and Robertson unlucky. It would have been interesting to see the behind camera view of that, to see if that was heading towards the far corner. Here's a free header for Hendry. He's put it straight at the keeper. How on earth has Jack Hendry, the big defender, found so much space inside the Armenia box? He's right about the penalty spot, but he puts his header straight at the keeper. 8-0, 0-0.
He should do better, Craig.
Yeah, I don't know how much pace was on the ball. That's the only thing that I would question, why he didn't get more pace on the header. I don't think there was enough pace on the ball for him to do that.
3 really good chances though in the last few minutes. Armstrong, Robertson and Hendry, and that bodes well for the Scots, but they've got to take these opportunities. Just seeing that Robertson effort again, the keeper has prevented that from going into the far corner of the net. Here come the Scots, long ball there towards Adams, is cleared by Haroyan again, and then the clearance completed by Artak Gregorian, who's got good experience. He's played in Scotland 3 times against Rangers, most recently in that Europa League playoff. He played against Celtic in Champions League qualifying a few years before that, and indeed against St Johnstone back in 2015. The Alishkert captain, who's playing the anchorman in that Armenia midfield. Just picked up by McKenna with a long ball to Adams. Good control, he's done well. Rolls it back to the left angle of the box. Now to McGregor at the outside of the D. Finds John McGinn. Couldn't quite work it out to Ralston. And it breaks down as the defender clears it back off Ralston. Bounces back inside the box and behind for a Scotland corner. Well, Armenia made an absolute hash of that, but Armstrong did well to keep the pressure on. Quick corner taken by Christie. Gets it to Ralston, back to Christie, shows too much to the defender who was on the deck. Scotland still have it though. McGregor to Ralston, back to McGregor. First time from Armstrong, couldn't quite find Ryan Christie, and it was behind for the goal kick. 9.5 in, Scotland 0, Armenia 0.
It really is a training exercise, isn't it, this moment in time? You know, Armenia are offering nothing in terms of build-up play, and even when they do get a chance to break, it's only one that's breaking, isn't it? Just tend to. So if they're going to score, Liam, and you saw the whole game against Ireland, did it take this pattern with Ireland missing?
Well,
Ireland
had plenty of opportunities. They perhaps weren't playing exactly with the kind of tempo that the Scots are utilising right now, as Robertson fails to control over on the far side.
They were away from home as well, weren't they? Ireland too, and Bacon Heat.
The problem that Ireland had, Willie, is that they were still goalless at half time because they put a lot into that first half, and it was more than 30 degrees Celsius. So it really did work against them. Their energy levels completely sapped away the longer the game went on, and as soon as they went behind, they struggled to fashion the opportunities they were fashioning beforehand, as Ralston slides into the challenge and it bounces back to the goalkeeper David Yurchenko, who plays for the Armenian champions Punic.
At this moment in time though, Liam, it's really difficult to see Armenia, you know, causing any threat to Scotland. I know, but it's very early to say that, and we've got to watch what you're saying, but they've shown no intent at all to get into our half.
Craig Gordon took his first touch of the match after nearly 9 minutes.
Well, they did this and got a 1-0 victory on Saturday, as Robertson picks up and rolls it to Callum McGregor wide left. Low ball into Christie at the left angle of the box. Back out wide left because he's going to get it back from the wide area from Armstrong. Christie, it's then blocked and out goes for a Scotland throw-in level with the Armenian penalty spot on the far side, taken quickly by Stuart Armstrong. Back to Christie, back to Armstrong, rolls it to the left angle of the box for McGregor. Armstrong changing pace. Dink ball to Suter, who's midway inside the Armenia half. Everyone bar Craig Gordon is in the Armenia half. 11.5 in, 0-0. It's McGinn forward to Suter, back to McGinn, who's just shielding the ball there from the challenge of Spertian, who actually manages to win it back, but they have contrived to give it away almost immediately, Armenia, but they have won a throw-in off John McGinn on this near side. It's Scotland 0, Armenia 0 on 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's encouraging though, Liam, that we have shifted the ball really quickly, haven't we? And I think, as I said earlier, the water on the pitch helps with that, and I'm probably was a problem for Ireland over in Armenia with the heat and how sticky the pitch might have been. So, you know, the weather's in our favour here this evening, and we can keep doing what we're doing. I'm sure we'll get the breakthrough.
Yeah, they were so tired. They were barely. The players who were on the far side of the pitch were barely able to come over for their water break in the second half. They didn't want to waste the energy coming over to the near side to do so. Scotland and Yerevan next Tuesday evening. It is a few hours later on in the day though that game kicks off. It's I think 8 o'clock local time. It's 5 o'clock local time when Ireland kicked off on Saturday. As the Armenians come forward now, is there going to be a flag here? There isn't. And Armenia are in right hand side of the box. It's played across the 6-yard line and Gordon holds on. Well, that's a real warning, because one little dink ball has split open the Scottish defence again, as we saw when Yarmolenko scored here last week. 13 in. It stays Scotland 0, Armenia 0, but again, that's a problem. It's a problem last week, and it's a problem here as well. And it was the dink towards Spertian who got that goal on Saturday, but he didn't have the finish, and he didn't have a teammate up in support. Yeah,
with Jack Henry switched off. You know, just a case of, I think they've been in the ball, they've been in the front foot that much that they've forgotten about defending, and Jack Henry really was caught flat-footed there. The Spertian run behind him, and it was just an awful strike, wasn't it, from him? He had no support again. He had to go for goal, but he got no power behind it. It was a bit of a let-off, because he definitely wasn't offside and the flag stayed down.
You know, Willie, sometimes in matches like this, when you've got a lot of the ball along the back line, and you don't need to defend for long periods, you can take your eye off the ball, can't you? Lack of concentration.
And Hendry's just managed to win the ball back down on this near side. up against Adamian, his clubmate of last season. As Robertson picks up for the Scots wide on the left, level with the edge of the circle, infield to McGinn, short to his right for Suter. 14 in, 0-0. Here's John McGinn in the central point, just moving it out to the left hand side for Robertson. He's getting some joy down there. Here goes Robertson bursting into the box, just got caught in a little bit of a fankle there. He's managed to win it back though. Robertson rolls it to the edge of the box and McGinn latches it high over the bar, and it stays Scotland 0, Armenia 0.
Very positive from Andy Robertson. You know, since the game started, he's been definitely in the front foot, want to take players on, good crosses into the box as well, and then even when he lost it there, you know, overcomplicating things a little bit perhaps, but then desperate to get it back and manages to steal it and set up John McGinn, who balloons it way over the bar. He won't be too happy with that effort. As Armenia juggle with the ball at the back and almost give Stuart Armstrong an opportunity to get in.
Yeah, it was a misunderstanding there between the goalkeeper and his defender who played it back to him. He's going to get it back here again. Is Yurchenko, the keeper, right-footed, out to that right-hand side. It goes for Hambartsumyan. Short ball back, infield for Haroyan. And he rolls it to Svertian, midway inside his own half here. And then roll back out to the far side for Hannes Hambartsumyan again. And it's a little ball just moved into the midfield for Hovhannisyan, then out to this left-hand side. It comes to Aman Hovhannisyan, and then just to the edge of the Armenia box for Haroyan again. Spertian turning it out to that right-hand side again for Hambartsumyan. Right-footed down the line it goes. It's going to break the way of Adamian here at the right angle of the penalty area. It's going to come back out to the right-hand side. Low ball comes into the Scottish box, with it straight through to Craig Gordon, who bowls it out quickly to Armstrong. He'll drive forward. He's had it pinched back off him though on this near side by Tigran Barsegyan. And Armenia are back in possession, and it's moved in field here for Korin by Ramyan. And then his pass forward to Spertian's cut out, and Scotland have it back with McKenna. 16.5 in, still no goals. The Scots enjoying, by all accounts, 80% of the possession right now, to no avail, though they have had 3 really nice opportunities. As they come forward again, when McGregor couldn't quite squeeze it through to Christie. The door was closed, and Armenia have it back over on that far side with Hambartsumyan, who's gone down. Well, it's going to be a Scotland free kick, and John McGinn has taken it quickly. It's kind of a little push on McGinn. He bounced up immediately and took the free kick, and now it's moved out to Ralston on the right and infield to McGregor. These two will know each other's games inside out. Of course, Armstrong and Christie both long servants at Celtic as well. Glittering spell there as McKenna picks up and rolls it into the Celtic skipper McGregor. Back out to McKenna, out to the left hand touchline for Robertson. Takes a touch, cross, takes a deflection, and it comes right through to Yurchenko, who holds on his 6-yard line. 17.5 in, Scotland 0, Armenia 0 here at the National Stadium as the Scots kick off their 22-23 Nations League campaign. It's still goalless in Dublin between the Republic of Ireland and Ukraine, and the other match in this group taking place this evening. The Scots doubleheader against the Ukrainians is in September. They've also got the Irish here in September, so they've really got to be looking at 7 or 9 points from this triple header to begin this Nations League campaign. You want to finish top, you want to have that safety net. There is one place fewer for the Euro 2024 playoffs in this season's Nations League, or in this edition of the Nations League. They've taken away the Path D playoff because you'll remember the last European Championship finals didn't have a host, whereas this one does. Germany hosting, so they qualify as hosts of the tournament. So League D doesn't have a representative going into the playoffs. A, B and C does though, and 3 of the Euro 2020 qualifiers will come from the Nations League. As McGregor knocks it back to McGinn, chopped to the ground there by Adamian, and that's a free kick to the Scots about 6 yards from the edge of the centre circle, central area in the Armenia half. 19th minute, Scotland 0, Armenia 0.
Yeah, I thought that should have been a booking, actually, Liam. I mean, he's deliberately brought, was it John McGinn, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's deliberately brought him down right in front of the referee. I don't know why he didn't book him.
Free kick to the Scots. It's an Armenian side. It's won 2 of its last 3, either side of the 9-0 trouncing in Oslo. Beat Montenegro, beat the Irish. That's their only wins in the last 12. As McGinn gets it back from Suter, he's gone from distance, and his rocket shot rises over the bar. 19 in, Scotland 0, Armenia 0.
Yeah, that's a couple of strikes that John McGinn's had. That one is getting a little bit closer, but it's still well over the bar, isn't it? And it's from quite far out too, and there's always a temptation. He sees the little pocket of space there and he tries to go for the top right hand corner, but he's got to get his head over it more. He's got to get the technique a little bit better and get it under the crossbar.
The visitors who are in possession in the centre circle, rolled out to this near side, and it's picked up here by the number 13 Kamo Hovhannisyan. I'm not sure necessarily you guys don't really need to worry about it. I don't think the white shirt in the gold numbers is particularly helpful.
You can't see the numbers, Liam. I don't know how you're managing to pick them out, to be perfectly honest. You're doing a magnificent job, I must say.
It's back with the goalkeeper. That's the easy one. Yurchenko, long ball out to this near side, controlled in the chest by Kamo Hovhannisyan, and he's had it pinched off him by Ralston. He started well, it's his first Scotland start. Tony Ralston. Now they've got Ralston and Patterson. I know Stephen O'Donnell was in the squad, he's not stripped tonight, but Ralston and Patterson are clearly the future at right back. So Hickey play that right wing back position last week. I don't think the circumstances helped Darren Hickey, who we know is a supreme talent. And he's an option as well, and we all know how good they are on the other side. Greg Taylor, another who's not stripped tonight, another who's had a fabulous season at left back. As McKenna plays it into the centre circle for Hendry, sweeps it out to Armstrong in the near side. 21st minute, approaching the end of it, 0-0. It's rolled out to Ralston. Infield along the deck to McGinn, gets his left foot angled ball in towards Robertson's cut out though. And Callum McGregor goes chasing after it. He's managed to keep it in play, but only to Armenia's benefit. And it's picked up there by Korin, by Ramyan, who knocks it back there to Haroyan, and out to the right hand side for Hambart Sumyan. His low ball along the line is cut out. Scotland trying to win it back, and it's actually going to be a free kick against Andy Robertson over on the far side. A little bit of afters there as well from the Scotland skipper. Left frustrated. He did a horrible hat-trick to go through in less than 2 weeks, losing the English Premier League title, the Champions League final, and that World Cup playoff semi-final in the space of about 10 days. So that's difficult mentally to come back from. To come out here and skipper his country again. Haroyan, dreadful clearance. McGregor pokes it forward to Armstrong, going to work it back to Callum McGregor. Gave the Scots so much hope in the closing stages last week, but he can't get beyond Haroyan, and it's booted away to safety there by Arman Hovhannisyan. And it is a foul by Stuart Armstrong on this near side. Armenia free kick. 22 and almost at the end of the first quarter of this Nations League B Group 1 opener, and it is 0-0. Craig Levine.
Yeah, and I think in the last sort of 5 or 6 minutes Armenia have started to come into the match a little bit, and they do look as if they have a little bit of pace on the break when they do commit players forward, but as yet Scotland are still well on top, although it's 0-0, and yeah, it's fairly encouraging, I would suggest.
Armenia won 5 in a row in the last edition of the Nations League. They were in a group with North Macedonia, Georgia and Estonia. They went to Tbilisi and won. That's something Scotland can't do, seemingly. Won 5 in a row, their best run of victories ever. And that was regarded as their finest achievement ever, as Armstrong picks up, rolls it back the way to McGinn. McGinn squares it to McKenna, left footed out to Robertson, level with the edge of the D of the Armenia box, back to Callum McGregor, manages to flick it back to Hendry, who finds Suter. Suter forward to his right for Armstrong, to McGinn, back to John Suter. Suter forward to Christie, back to McGinn. Good build up by the Scots, it's patient. McGinn ushers it out wide left for Robertson, level with the 6 yard line. It's a delicate chip ball back away, headed away though by Armenia, and then the clearance completed by Ramyan up towards the edge of the centre circle, where there's a foul by a Damian. Scotland free kick, but there's a stoppage because there's obviously a head knock inside the
Ralston,
6-yard box. It is Ralston who's down yet.
He ran in. I mean, he was really brave actually. Well, I don't know what you think, but he's come in at the back post. He's thrown himself at it, and I don't know if he's collided with the goalkeeper or one of their defenders.
It's a defender, I think.
Yeah, he
isn't
just
it?
headed the back of his shoulder, didn't he? So that looks like a nasty one.
But good signs again. You know, you've got the two wing backs exchanging passes. Really, you know, Ralston trying to get on the end of the Robertson cross from the left hand side. And, you know, when you're playing against a formation like this, you have got to be patient. You know, if you get a chance, you know, chances that's been created in the first 10 minutes or so, if you get one of them, then the whole game changes, doesn't it? You don't, and then, you know, they get a little bit of confidence. You can see that they can pass the ball, they can hold it up, they know how to do that, and they make it really difficult, and there's not much space, you know, to take advantage of.
It's a sore one, that, for Ralston. He's been piling into the back of the Armenian defender. Still 0-0 in Dublin. I tell you, it's a vastly changed Ukrainian side from the one that started here and in Cardiff, that is playing against the Irish this evening. There's no Sigankov, no Zinchenko. Karavayev isn't starting either. Malinovsky, they're all on the bench tonight against the Republic of Ireland, who similar team to the one that started against Armenia the weekend. Stephen Kenny was obviously relatively happy with the performance up until they started to wilt in the Armenian heat, as Ralston waits to come back onto the pitch down below us. Austrian referee Sebastian Gieshammer this evening in charge. Of course, we do have VAR for all these tournaments nowadays, as Hendry picks up in the centre circle for the Scots with the game back underway. 25 and a half goalless minutes in here, as the big switch is controlled by Robertson wide in the left. Forward to Christie. Christie on the spin, midway inside the Armenia half, rolling it square there to Armstrong. Poor pass, looking for McGinn, and it's cleared there by Artak Gregorian and picked up by Jack Hendry. I have to say, it's not a bad crowd inside Hampden at all this evening, given the circumstances, given last week, given the issues that the fans are having. It's always the fans that seem to suffer in that kind of situation. Transport late at night in Scotland right now is, as far as the trains is concerned, almost unavailable. The last train away from Mount Florida tonight here on Glasgow's south side leaves before this game finishes. 26 and a half in, Scotland 0, Armenia 0. Throw into the Scots to be taken by Ralston, level with the Armenian 18-yard line. Off to our right as the Scots attack the goal to the right. Short to Armstrong, who has it taken away from him. There it was well defended actually on this near side by Hovhannisyan. A long clearance into the Scotland half, picked up by Hendry, who finds McKenna, and he moves it out to the left for Christie. Lots of the Scotland team played together with the under-21s as well, as McGinn finds Armstrong. Couldn't quite force it through. He's taken a sore one as well. There was a heavy-looking challenge there by Barazdat Haroyan. Armstrong still down on his knees there, just beginning to pick himself back up as it goes out for a Scottish throw-in. On the near side, Steve Clark down at the edge of his technical area, 27 in. Still no goals. The early goal didn't arrive. Those three really good opportunities for Scotland, well, they all came inside the opening 9 minutes of the match. John McGinn's had a couple of speculative efforts since then, as Callum McGregor picks up midway inside Armenian territory. Short ball to McGinn, back out to McGregor, out to the left hand north stand side there for Robertson. Infield for Christie. Christie back to Hendry. Scotland need poise this evening, need patience. That's clear already. Robertson finds Armstrong, sweeps the ball into the box. Ralston's header, goal! First start in a Scotland shirt for Tony Ralston, and the Celtic fullback heads it down into the ground, into the reverse corner from where the cross came from. A fabulous moment for him personally, and for Scotland collectively. Their Nations League campaign is off and running here at Hampden. Scotland 1, Armenia 0.
He's got himself into that position on a number of occasions, and he's been rather unfortunate not to take advantage of it. But then he's just the timing of the run is perfect. But Armstrong clip to the back post is wonderful. The defender gets himself under it, and Ralston just judges the flight of the ball extremely well, and doesn't have to do too much. He just has to guide it into the back of the net. Doesn't put a lot of power on it. He goes for accuracy, and that's a breakthrough that Scotland acquired.
Yeah, a fantastic goal. He'll be hoping that this season goes on and on and on. I mean, what a season it's been for him, and to cap it all off with a goal for Scotland on his first start, I mean, that just stuff made of dreams, isn't it?
It's incredible, it really is. I mentioned him earlier on and how he's managed to turn his Celtic career around. This is a man who made one single appearance last season in a Celtic shirt. One. His career was over at Celtic Park. It looked for all the money that he was going to have to go elsewhere to play his football. But under Ange Postecoglou and now Steve Clarke at the national setup, he really has caught fire. 47 appearances for Celtic and just one the season before. I mean, when you consider where he was, he must have been mentally 12 months ago. Craig's right, it's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's Armenia on the attack here on the far side as they look for an immediate riposte. And they might get in. There's a shot at goal there, which is blocked there by Callum McGregor. There was a promising little run from them down that right-hand side. It looked as though they might get a bit of joy there. Scotland just finishing the celebrations for that goal. But they managed to get it clear, and it's picked up by Haroyan, who's trying to shake off Che Adams. And it's a foul by the Scotland striker, and Armenia.
That's a booker as well. He just grabbed his shot and pulled him back. The referee obviously left his cards in the dressing room or something. I think listen, he's been fair for both teams. I'm not complaining about that, but what you normally see is free kicks and bookings. He hasn't given any of them.
Armenia in possession. Over on the far side, they've been robbed though. Here comes Robertson. Robertson's managed to find Armstrong. It's a touch on the right foot, sets himself, shoots with the left, blocked an 18-yard line, breaks to McGregor, and now back to Suter. Scots looking for a quick fire second. Armstrong's pass is loose though, and it's picked up on this near side by Camo of Hanisyan. Out to this near side, Suter goes down, free kick Scotland, brought to the ground by Adamian just inside the Armenia half. Scotland then leading by 1-0 as we tick on to 31 minutes at Hampden.
Isn't it so difficult, isn't it? There, Stuart Armstrong gets an opportunity outside the box. He gets it on to the left foot. You can see he's trying to curl it towards the back post. Armenia's just got so many bodies there. It's really difficult to find any gap between them. They do defend bravely, I've got to say that, but at the same time difficult for the Scots to find that gap to get the striking goal.
Here's McGinn, forward it comes to Christie, first time looking for McGregor, it's cut out and it's picked up here by Ramyan. The mop of hair running into the centre circle, just turning it out to this near side for Adamian. Little clipped ball, couldn't quite
good play by
through.
McKenna.
Yeah, he's done well, just held off his man Hambard Zumyan, and it's right through to Craig Gordon. Craig.
Yeah, I thought it was really good play. He read the situation perfectly, had a hold of the Armenian player as well, and just let the ball slide through to Craig Gordon. Really good defender, and that's the type of thing I was talking about with concentration earlier on. You know, when you're standing watching the game for as long as our defenders have been, then sometimes you can just be a little bit dozy and not react quick enough.
John McGinn, first time for Adams on the stretch, couldn't quite get it back to Robertson. Ramian picks up, and then it's cleared by Mikoyan. He's given it away. It's now with McKenna, who finds McGregor, who finds McGinn. 33rd minute of the game. Scotland leading by 1-0. Anthony Ralston's first for his country. It's out on that left-hand side with Robertson. Back the way to McKenna. Now he finds Jack Hendry, who finds Suter. Again, everyone bar Craig Gordon in the Armenia half. Here goes Suter driving forward. Still to the 18-yard line. Finds Christie. Now it's with McGinn. Another one of those angle balls. Couldn't find Robertson. He ghosted in from the left back area into the left-hand side of the penalty box. And it comes right through to Yurchenko. 33 minutes in now. Scotland 1, Armenia 0. Really good run by John Suter there. He's completed his move to Rangers. He's had his little photo shoot at Ibrox just before he came on international duty after that Scottish Cup final, where he played very well for Hearts in his last game for the Edinburgh club ahead of the move to Ibrox. And he'll be wanting to solidify his place in the national first team as well. And McGinn picks up a loose ball. Armstrong just evaded him, runs into Haroyan, and then picked up by Ramyan, who plays it short out to Hambert Sumyan, and then to Grigorian. And Comes back the way to Aroyan again. It's the middle of the central three for Armenia. He moves it out there to Aman Hovhannisyan. Now it's back with Aroyan again. Scotland 1, Armenia 0. Still goalless in Dublin. Republic of Ireland against Ukraine in the other match in this group. Scotland are in Dublin on Saturday. That's a 5 o'clock kick-off. Sports Sound will have that live here on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital, online, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. 11 minutes left of this first half. Scotland leading by 1-0, and as McGuinness foul, it's been pretty comfortable, I would have to say, for about 99% of it. A couple of little things up the other end as Christie pops it through for Adams, and then the slide challenge from Aroyan puts it behind for a Scotland corner. Good build-up play again.
It is, it's been very comfortable, Liam, but they allow you to have the possession, and that's a bad pass.
Short corner, Christie's overhit the cross.
Christie curling it, towards the back post, but they allow you room and space, and what you've got to make sure, Craig, in my opinion, is that the passing's accurate and sharp, isn't it? And Scotland have done that.
I spoke at that beginning about how the pitch will help. It definitely has, but let's be honest, a lot of these players are technically superb, aren't they? I'm watching Armstrong and Christie, their positioning, and they get into these little pockets of space in front of the Armenian defenders on the half turn. They receive the ball and they move it really, really quickly, sometimes one touch, and I think their position's been excellent, and they've caused all sorts of problems.
Stuart Armstrong setting up the goal for Anthony Ralston. So when Ralston first broke into the Celtic team, Armstrong was still there. They were playing in the Champions League together. They know each other. Stuart Armstrong must be delighted with the way Ralston's career's gone in the last, not even 12 months, the last 9 or 10 months, as Christie picks up for the Scots, driving towards the Armenia box, rolls it out wide right for Ralston. Low ball in field to McGinn, first time to Suter, then back down the line here for Ralston, level with the Armenian 18, and then he looks for the switch and he's popped it back onto the chest of McKenna. McKenna out to the left hand side for Robertson. Final 10 minutes, in fact the final 9 of this first half here, with the Scots leading by 1-0. Robertson for Armstrong, level with the edge of the D of the Armenia box, short to the touchline for Robertson, short infield to McGregor, back out wide left for Armstrong, level with the penalty spot. A little disguised ball for Robertson, wasn't disguised well enough, it's cut out, but it breaks to McGinn, who's looking for Adams, who managed to hit it back to Christie, who puts it over with the left foot. Really good play. Adams did not look like he was going to be able to do what he did with it there. He did well. He nodded it back from the back post area to the 6-yard line. Christie, just an awkward bounce in front of him, and he puts it sky high, and it stays 1-0 to the Scots on 37.
Could he have headed that, you think?
Towards goal?
Yeah, instead of trying a sort of hitch kick.
I think
I'm talking about Adams has played it back the way. I think he could have headed that.
Yeah. I mean, it's bouncing up quite high. It's maybe above hip high. He's got to, actually manoeuvre himself to get the volley in. So perhaps that was an opportunity for him to do that. Maybe it was a wrong decision, but good move though.
Scots playing it out from the back there, a little bit uncomfortable for a moment as Christie picks up and glides away as is his want. A very easy footballer to watch is Ryan Christie. Now it's with Armstrong of Southampton. Christie, of course, with Bournemouth these days. As Hendry picks up in the centre circle, he's swept it out to Suter. Low ball forwards cut out on the edge of the box, but Ralston picks up the scraps, gets there ahead of Hannisyan. Now it's with McGinn, who's found Ralston. His first time ball is cut out there by Aroyan, and he clears with the right foot all the way into the Scottish half. 38th minute of the game. Scotland 1, Armenia 0. Any kind of victory's a victory tonight. That's all that matters. The Scots need, you would think, at least 7 points, probably 9 if they want to finish above the Ukrainians come the end of this group. I'm sure the Irish will have their own designs on it, but they of course lost to Armenia on Saturday, so they're already majorly on the back foot. And Suter picks up and finds Christie. Christie midway inside the Armenia half, switches the play to Armstrong. Know each other's game so well. It's a chip ball looking for Robertson. A little bit last ditch by Armenia. They've got it half away, and it's going to be collected here by Callum McGregor, who turns it back to McKenna. And now with McGregor, Stabbing it forward to Armstrong, to Robertson, back out it comes to Armstrong, and into McKenna, and now with Hendry. Forward to his left for McKenna. The Scots looking for a second before the interval. No ball into the box, it's Adams. Adams holding off his man, little back heel, couldn't quite work it back to Robertson, but Adams gets the break of the ball, has it left hand side of the box, goes it to the edge of the area for McGregor, picks his spot, it's deflected off his own man and behind. Has it come off the defender? Yes it has, says the Austrian referee. 6 from the break, Scotland 1, Armenia 0. Callum McGregor's reaction tells you he thinks that's going in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great defensive header as it was. I thought it was Shea Adams that actually got his head on it, but it looks like, no, it's a defender, that's actually managed to clip it over the bar, and yeah, I think Callum McGregor thought he was going to find that ball nestling in the back of the net.
Scotland's 5th corner of the evening, heading towards the final 5 minutes. Well, it's been a pretty positive first half, it would have to be said. Could be even more positive. The Scots can find a second goal here. It's McGinn with an in-swinging left-footed corner from this near side, and it comes headed down and in! A second Scotland goal, and Scott McKenna bullets it home in the back post area, down into the ground for his first international goal. Brilliantly taken, heading into the final 5 minutes of the first half, and Scotland double their lead. It's Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
Yeah, it's just a really good delivery, isn't it, from John McGinn towards the back post. Goalkeeper complaining that he was obstructed there, but I don't think so. I think that there's just bodies there, and you know, McKenna is strong, he's physical, he holds off the challenge, he gets up and he nods it into the ground just to make sure it ends up, you know, in the net to give Scotland the deserved second goal.
To be fair, Willie, that's one of his strengths, isn't it? You know,
absolutely.
In the opposing team's box, he's very, very aggressive. I think the defender struggled to deal with his strength, actually. Yeah. And that's the first really good corner that John McGinn's put in. And because of that, and because of the tenacity of McKenna, we've got ourselves in a really, really comfortable position.
Well, he's just helped Nottingham Forest back into the top flight of English football for the first time in 23 years, so he too is celebrating a first international goal after a dream club campaign. I think they just checked that with the VAR beforehand, but it is a good goal, and Scott McKenna is off the mark for his country as well as Ralston, who got the first. 41 played.
The second goal, Liam's really important in these situations.
I'd love a third one, and it's Armstrong coming forward. Good challenge on him though as McGinn goes to the ground. No free kick, says the referee. I have to say the first one looked like a free kick, the second one surely was. Referee says no to both. Callum McGregor manages to pinch it back, but the referee sees that as a free kick, and the referee's going to go for his top pocket here and boot Callum McGregor for that challenge. Surely one of the other ones, the John McGinn ones, were
exactly. I mean, but why is he booking Callum McGregor? I thought he won the ball.
He did win the ball, yeah.
I mean, that was a ludicrous decision.
I think when you look back and the rest of the challenges,
it's a little tug of the shirt right enough that we're seeing on the replay.
But there's been 2 of those already. One of them he didn't give a free kick for, and another one he did.
All you want's consistency, that's Craig, isn't it?
That is it.
But you're not going to get it. Come on. How long have you been on this planet? How many games of football have you watched? And you won't get consistency. Very rarely do we come off a game of football saying that the referee is consistent. But there was a tug. There was a tug in the jersey. So, you know, maybe he did get it right. Perhaps he got the earlier ones wrong.
As Craig says, if that's a yellow, the other 2 are yellows as well. And it's Scotland leading by 2-0, heading towards the final 2.5 minutes now of this first half. Scotland with McGinn flighting it forward, asking too much of Adams, and the goalkeeper Yurchenko has it inside his own penalty area here. This is exactly what Steve Clarke wanted. He's standing down there, his traditional pose with the hands held behind his back on the edge of his technical area, as Ralston picks up again for the Scots. Here's McGinn. Scotland trying to keep their foot on Armenian throat here as John McGinn pokes it to McGregor. McGregor's got Robertson out wide in the left. Low ball. Andy Robertson takes a touch level with 18-yard line. Low for McGinn. He's inside the area. Turns it back to McGregor. A little turn, but it's knocked away from him. Then it breaks the suitor, who lasses it high over the bar from about 20, almost 25 yards from goal. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Scotland leading Armenia by 2-0.
It's tempting, that one, isn't it? When John Shooter finds himself just outside the box, just to put the laces through it. You know, I think he could actually have taken a touch as well and settled down a little bit, but it's well over the bar, unfortunately. But he's up there. He's what, 20 yards out, maybe 22 yards out, and he's having to strike at goal. So, you know, everything's been in the front foot. The passing has been accurate. It's been slick. They've got 2 goals. You know, everything is so positive in this first half.
Yeah, he was sent off playing against Israel in Haifa in the first Nations League campaign under Alec McLeish was John Souttar, and he wasn't seen in a dark blue shirt for a long time after that, mainly because of horrendous injuries that Craig knows all about only too well. But he'll hopefully be able to get an injury-free run at it.
He deserves it, I think.
Yeah, no, of course. But even last season, he had a great season, but even last season he had a couple of months out because of injury. So it's about managing him as well, I suppose, but he's still young enough, quite clearly. There's John Souttar, 25.
And the thing is, Liam, in games like this where you have possession, this is where he comes to the fore, because his passing is absolutely fantastic, and his composure on the ball and the ability to run with the ball if he needs to. So for me, he's a perfect international footballer.
McKenna out wide left for Robertson. Final minute of the first half, in fact the final 20 seconds. Now Scotland leading by 2-0. There's going to be a little bit of injury time added on at the end. The Austrian fourth official as the board readied. So McKenna plays it short to Robertson. Goals on 29 from Ralston and 40 from McKenna. 2 minutes of injury time have been added. We're into the first of them. A wet night in Glasgow. As Adams chesting it back to the edge of the area, couldn't quite find Christie. Armenia sweep it clear into the Scotland half, but it's picked up by McKenna.
Liam, the thing that's important to mention at this point, I think, is the difference going in as a manager with a 2-0 lead over a 1-0 lead is huge, you know. And it settles everybody down. 1-0, she's still a little bit nervous, particularly if there's been some sort of close shaves near the half-time whistle. So, you know, to go in 2-0, to be dominant in this game, Steve will be mentally in a really good place.
And it's so important they win this game, because the pressure then really would start to tell. As McGinn comes forward, he finds Armstrong, first time back to McGregor. Can they add a third to the scoreline before the break? Here's Ralston, wide on the right, taking on his man, dropping the shoulder, right foot chip ball comes in, he's headed half away. And then one at the edge of the box by Armenia, but only as far as McGregor. It's now McKenna. He rolls it low out to Robertson on that left-hand side. Back to McGinn, first time left foot ball into the areas, headed clear there by Kamil Hovhannisyan. Armenia able to complete the clearance out to this near side. It's a poor ball, and you can maybe even hear Sargis Adamian berating himself as Christie is brought to the ground, and that will be a free kick given against Varsdat Haroyan, the captain. No yellow card coming for him though. That's what the Scotland supporters are moaning about.
Is he taking the card out?
Oh, he has, yeah, he has. It's out, but there it is. He's brandished it now. And it's a free kick to Scotland, the final few seconds of the injury time that was added on at the end. This will be the last opportunity of the first half. 2-0 to the Scots. And confirmation, Haroyan has been booked for that one. He plays in Spain with Cadiz. Finished 17th in La Liga last season. Spared relegation. But their main centre defender, the captain, he plays in La Liga. So this isn't a ridiculously poor team that Scotland are playing this evening. There's guys playing in the Slovakian, the Spanish, the Russian top flight, who are all starting this evening. As McGinn and Souttar stand over this free kick, you'd fancy it's better suited to the left boot of McGinn. He's taken it short, square to Robertson, takes a touch, left-footed, chip ball into the box. Souttar wins the header, and then at the back post, it's off the bar. Still alive, goal! Has it gone in? Scott McKenna has knocked home his second, and Scotland's third in first half stoppage time. A perfect first half for Steve Clarke after the disappointment of Ukraine 7 nights ago. They are beginning this Nations League campaign in the best possible fashion. Scotland 3, Armenia 0. It might be getting checked. We'll keep an eye on the Austrian referee. But right now, Scott McKenna thinks he's made it 3. They're wanting offside. It's so tight. It's so tight.
He might be off.
I think he is. That's all I can say. It looks in the replay that we've got here as though he's just offside. That goal machine, Scott McKenna, they're checking it, so we'll just have to wait and see. But to what we can see, I think it just looks marginally offside as the ball comes back, you know, from the right hand side, and he manages to get it into the back of the net. They're taking their time about it.
Yeah, he's got his right hand up to his right ear where the earpiece is. This is the last action of the first half. Have the Scots got their third goal? They're already 2-0 up, so this is not a do or die situation. The referee has made his mind up, and it's no goal, offside. So McKenna's second strike doesn't count. It stays Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
It was a well-worked corner, that, actually. John Souttar made the run from where the ball was initially. The ball out to the left. John Souttar made a run to the back post. Ball was played to the back post. He went across the goal, and McKenna put the ball in the net. But as we saw on the replay there, it was maybe a foot offside.
It's actually from the first attempt, isn't it, when he's clipped the crossbar and it came back to him. He lashed it home, and the rebound broke back to him. But anyway, it could have been 3-0. It's still 2-0. And that'll do for Steve Clarke as he makes his way up the tunnel here at Hampden, down below us, after the emotional torture of that World Cup playoff semi here last Wednesday evening. His team came flying out at the start. They had 3 really good opportunities in the opening 9 minutes. Armstrong hit the post, Robertson had a shot saved, Jack Hendry had a header saved, and then on 29 and 40, Ralston and McKenna with headers. Ralston's one down into the ground from Stuart Armstrong, and then McKenna from John McGinn's corner. McKenna thought he'd his second, so did we, but the VAR ruled it out. The Scots have had some fortune with VAR in the not too distant past. Not so this evening, but at half time they're well on their way to a first 3 points of this Nations League campaign. At half time at Hampden, it's Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
The most comprehensive coverage of Scottish football.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
It's a real cutthroat business. And if it doesn't happen and it doesn't work the way you say it would as a manager, as a coach, you will be sacked. And you say, well, what if it does work? Well, basically, you got another weekend.
It's the podcast that lifts the lid on just what it takes to survive as a football manager.
So you talk about falling into a job. I well and truly fell into that one.
Join Craig Levine, me, Amy Irons, and guests as we look at the stresses and joys of football management.
All of a sudden, you're leaving 1 or 2 out of the team. You're telling them that they're not playing on this Saturday.
I know. Oh, it's different. Sacked in the morning. Listen on BBC Sounds.
That Craig Levine gets absolutely everywhere. We'll chat more with Craig and with Willie. 2-0 Scotland at half-time. Ukraine had gone in front in Dublin against the Republic of Ireland, but they, just like Scotland, have fallen foul of VAR. Taras Kacharaba with the opener in 37 minutes. At least that's what he thought. But there was a player offside, judged to be offside when they checked the VAR. So still goalless, and it is half-time in Dublin. In the League A Group 4, which is also in action tonight, Wales and Netherlands 0-0 at half-time. Fair few changes in that Welsh side. It's Belgium 1, Poland 1. Axel Witsel with the equaliser for Belgium just before half-time. Robert Lewandowski somewhat inevitably had put Poland in front in that one. So 1-1 there. Goalless Wales, Netherlands goalless Republic of Ireland against Ukraine, and 2-0 Scotland against Armenia. It is much improved, Tom English, on what we saw last week. Armenia perhaps not at the same level as Ukraine, but Scotland are many levels up from that performance, aren't they?
They are, yeah. They look a confident team, they look a hungry team, they look an organised team. They look very comfortable out there in what they're doing, in their formation, in their shape. And they got off to a good start, creating chances. Ralston has been excellent.
Even before the goal.
Before the goal.
Everything he did was class, wasn't it?
Yeah, creating chances, going past guys, getting crosses in. He looks like he's playing his 20th or 30th international match rather than his first start. So fair play to him. He's made a big difference. And it's like chalk and cheese. Now I know that the opposition is chalk and cheese, and in many ways this is the perfect opponent after the Ukraine disappointment, because Scotland can put them on the back foot and are putting them on the back foot, and they are creating chances, and there's not a lot that Armenia can do about it, because they're not good enough when Scotland are playing in this kind of mood. And it's, 2-0 does not flatter Scotland at all. I mean, 3-0 would probably be a fairer representation of the half. It's good performance, good work rate, good tempo. I like what I'm seeing.
I guess we can't complain about VAR, A, because it's benefited us in the past, and B, because they got the decision absolutely right. McKenna was just offside with the first effort they hit the bar.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he's up there.
Yeah.
I like the preamble to that. I like a lot of stuff that I'm seeing out there. They do look a really, really hungry side. And it's a great response to the disappointment of Ukraine. I mean, they could have come out here, they could have been flat, they could have toiled and probably get a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that. But they have seized the initiative, and the attitude coming out here is right. We're going to try and blow these guys away, and so far so good.
Yeah, and it's much more like what we've seen in a couple of those runs, particularly the most recent one, I guess. Some of the football we played during that run, the 6-game winning run that we had there. They have shaken off the disappointment of last week, it seems, given what we're seeing out there on the pitch.
Yeah, so listen, absolutely. On the basis of that, for first half performance, you'd expect them to score another 1 or 2 in the second half. I can imagine the last week must have been awful for these Scotland players, because the realisation, even though they're not in the media, they're talking up, it's new competition, they don't want to dwell on the disappointment, but when they go back into their inner sanctum, I'm sure that's a lot of what they're talking about. And trying to kind of move on from that would have been difficult, because some of these guys are never going to play in a World Cup. They're never going to get a chance to play in another World Cup. Greg Gordon being one of them. That was it for him. So that's a big psychological thing to move on from. The fact that they did not do themselves justice at all. But in a week, they're turning it around. Look, Armenia, as I said, a really good opponent tonight, because they're not that good at all. Home game, that suits Scotland as well. They didn't have to travel. But that said, there's been a lot of quality in it. Ralston, I'm keeping a close eye on him, because I think he's been excellent. Some of the movement has been good. The attitude has been excellent. It's been really, really, really strong. And the three at the back are very, very comfortable on the ball. It's so noticeable. Now, I know they're not under the same kind of pressure. Again, we have to counter that by saying, it's Armenia, and last week it was Ukraine, and it's a different kettle of fish entirely. But the three at the back are very, very comfortable on the ball. And you can see Souter's leadership, as well as his use of the ball. His leadership is direct in the back three. Excellent, and it just reminds me, I don't want to go back to Ukraine, but it reminds me of why on earth wasn't he playing last week?
Well, there was just one moment earlier on when Henry just allowed the ball over the top, and the player did get in, but that was very quickly snuffed out. Quite apart from the two they've scored and the one that was ruled out from VAR, Stuart Armstrong hit the post early on. There was a really good save for the keeper from Andy Robertson. There's been so much to enjoy from a Scottish point of view. I'm not searching desperately for negatives, but John McGinn, I'm going to say, has disappointed me tonight. A brilliant corner for the Scott McKenna goal, but that apart, his distribution has been off. He's been over-hitting passes, crosses.
He's playing a deeper role tonight, though, and I actually quite like him sometimes in that role, because he covers the ground really well. And him and McGregor, although they're both left-sided, they know exactly what they're doing in there, Richard. So, and the thing is, John McGinn can still get forward, even though he's playing as one of the deeper midfield players, and he's done it on many occasions. He's had 3 shots, I think, from distance. But I think overall, I think what's really encouraging for me is that we're playing football.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of this in the games gone by, and then for some inexplicable reason, we ended up just lumping the ball up the park against Ukraine, and there's not been a sign of that at all tonight.
I think the tactics that they employ, though, Craig, as well, I mean, they just sit on the edge of their box. So I don't think it's ever on to play it from back to front, because the back to front's only about 25 yards, because our centre backs are actually 15-20 yards inside their half.
Yeah, I know, but my point was more about Willie. About
I understand what you're saying. I mean, I think from a Scotland point of view, I think they've shifted the ball really well, haven't they? I think their passing has been accurate, their movement has been great. The two wing backs have been right up the park. They've been whipping balls in.
They've provided the width, Willie, and it's allowed. I want to go on about Christie and Armstrong again, because the positions that they're taking up are fantastic. Because you as a defender, you're not sure whether you go in to that space to mark them, and then what happens is Shea Adams runs into the space that you leave. So I think they've just done this perfectly. They've switched sides on occasions as well. With Christie being over this side and Armstrong on the other side. So I think that's worked really, really well. The formation is working really, really well. And I think there's a lot to be happy about.
Just watching, I noticed there was some kind of kerfuffle in the wake of, well, it was the goal that was disallowed by VAR, actually. We'll just see it now. It's one of the Armenia defenders goes crazy. They're arguing that the ball has crossed the line, I think, and the defender picks up one of the water bottles and he quite clearly throws it at the assistant. Now, the assistant has moved away from his position by that point, is running away, but that's the kind of thing that they're going to have to look at and clamp down on. I mean, it's an astonishing reaction. I've never seen a player do that.
Do you think he threw it at the linesman?
Absolutely. He's looking directly at him and throws it. Now, he'll say it was just frustration and he wasn't trying to do it probably, but the evidence looks pretty damning to me.
Well, it's just that we're at the poor table here. We don't have
myself and Craig don't have a monitor right in front of our nose.
Thank goodness that you have the insight.
But you're right. Looking at it again, I think he does throw it at the
totally.
And if that gets a bit closer to the official, not only is your man off, he's banned for quite a long time. It's a complete loss of plot by the guy. Remarkable, and he must have felt really stupid when the goal was disallowed. putting his international future in jeopardy for a goal that never happened.
We're talking about VAR. The VAR are busy looking at that goal and they disallow it. How they would miss the player doing that in the midst of all that and not alert the referee to that?
Well, they've just shown it, so somebody's talking about it. I would imagine.
No, absolutely. I'm sure that we haven't heard the last of that. It's great. It's great. Kind of a shame it's not last week when it was the World Cup that was on the line and we had this kind of feeling inside the stadium at half-time rather than players being booed off.
Different opposition though, guys. Come on. I mean, they've made no attempt. They've made no attempt to put us under any sort of pressure whatsoever. I'm taking nothing away from Scotland in the performance. I think it's a top-notch performance, but they have no threat. The tactics that they employ, I think it's pretty disgraceful.
There's some players in that team that look decent, Willie. And I think when they have made a break forward on a few occasions, I think there's been some instructions from the coach not to pile forward, but I mean they've got good ability, and you just wonder if the handcuffs came off, if they could, maybe do a bit better. Well, the thing is, they're 2-0 down, so maybe the handcuffs will need to come off.
Well, they may have to, and I can only see it getting worse for them if they do that, because I don't think they defend particularly well either.
That's a fair
even
point.
though they've got all these bodies, sometimes the more bodies you have, the less responsibility you're going to take as well.
That's what happens. You think somebody else is doing the job. You think that you're fine and I'll stay here, and then a man gets in between two defenders, neither of them are marking them, and that causes a huge problem.
I think you're right, Willie. I don't think you can compare this to last week and say, if only Scotland played as good as they are tonight, because they played against a much better opposition last week compared to tonight. But what we'll say about last week is that Scotland can play a lot better than that. That's the point, that they did not do themselves justice at all. And they picked the team. The team he picked was wrong. The formation was wrong. He didn't change it. After 20 minutes, it was evident to everybody. Ukraine had 4 good chances, and he still didn't change it. So it's a world of regret for last week, and we're seeing tonight, and we saw against Denmark, Scotland can play against good teams. Never mind tonight. Scotland can play against good sides and play really well once they're true to themselves, and I don't think they were true to themselves last week. They are again tonight, again against an opposition that's way inferior, but at least they're putting them away so far.
Just a word about, clearly Tony Lawson had touched on, he's been outstanding and took the goal really well. McKenna disappointed clearly not to get a second goal tonight, but he has had his first Scotland goal. Craig touched on it during the commentary. The strength, the power that he has developed over the past 2 or 3 years is astonishing. He just stood there and 2 or 3 defenders kind of bounced off him as he just held his space there and slammed the ball in the net with his head.
It's incredible, Richard, when I look back and remember him as a 14, 15-year-old, probably 15. He was actually a midfield. He was a tall, thin midfield player. And he's managed to develop himself, obviously with the help of the sports science department, both at Aberdeen and then he's moved down south as well, to be this huge kind of a defender that really is a kind of a solid block defensively, but when he gets in the opposition half, as you say, Craig, I mean, you wouldn't want to be marking him 1v1 when these corners are coming in or these set pieces are coming in.
Well, back out, and maybe there will be further opportunities for Scott McKenna and the other Scotland players to add to the tally. It's been a very satisfying night thus far. Still goalless in Dublin. Remember, Ukraine having that goal ruled out by VAR 8 minutes before half-time. Scotland having won in first half stoppage time. So 0-0 there, 2-0 here. Scotland against Armenia as we get back to Willie, Craig and Liam.
So Scotland have only lost 4 of their last 18 matches. The Czech Republic and Croatia at the Euros, Denmark in World Cup qualifying, and last week against Ukraine. It looks as though the Armenians are going to make a double change right at the start of this second half. And they bring on Vahan Vychak-Chan, who plays for Ponian Stettin in Poland. And they're also going to bring on the number 6, Wibimar.
There's 3 of them
in
there.
fact, yeah, they're going to make 3 changes. Excellent. Vahan Vychak-Chan, I mentioned. Number 4, Taron Voskanyan's coming on.
23, 6 and 4.
Yeah.
If that helps.
It does, Craig, it does, thanks. Oh, I started saying it a minute ago, so I could have done with you saying that 60 seconds back, but there you go. They're going to make the changes then, 3, and once the board goes up, I'll tell you who's coming off, if you're remotely bothered. Artak Grigorian, the Aliskert midfielder, has been sacrificed, so Ibemar comes on for him. The other player coming off is the striker Adamian, who was putting himself about in the first half, not necessarily in the best manner. And the other change, and that means that Kamo Hovhannisyan, who played at left wing back, is going to come off, and he is replaced by Taron Voskanyan. And it will be Armenia to kick off the second half, and they're all white with the gold numbers on the back. And they go left to right at the start of the second half here, shooting towards the Tory Glen east end of the stadium, if you know it, and Scotland right to left as we watch from high up behind Steve Clarke's technical area in the dark blue, shooting towards the Mount Florida west end of the stadium. Slight drizzle in the air. It's a dull, dreich old day in Glasgow as Robertson takes the throw in and bowls it back the way to Scott McKenna. No changes for the Scots. Gordon in goal, Hendry, Suter, McKenna, Ralston and Robertson, McGregor, Armstrong, McGinn, Christie and Adams as it started this evening. 2-0 to the Scots, the opening minute of the second half, as McKenna rolls it out to Robertson on the near side. Left-footed ball towards Adams. Is he onside? Gets the control, he's in the box, he is onside. Back heel for Christie. Christie's left-hand side of the box at the byline. He wins the first corner of the second half. Does he? No. Offside flag has gone up, and it's a free kick to Armenia instead. So 3 changes there by the Armenians. I'm not sure it'll jolt them into life. We shall see how they go in this second half. They are coached by a Spaniard in Joaquin Caparros. He's had a long nomadic coaching career, although he did have some decent spells in charge of some big teams in his homeland: Sevilla, Villarreal, Mallorca, Levante, Athletic Bilbao. Going back a while now, right enough. He's very experienced campaigner. He took over the Armenian national job just as the pandemic hit back in March 2020, and he actually had them top of their World Cup qualifying group after 3 matches until they ran into the Germans, as Hendry tries to pass it back to McKenna, who in turn goes back to Craig Gordon. Short ball by him out to his now former clubmate Suter, out onto the touchline on that far side for Ralston, to Suter, and now to John McGinn, who rolls it out to Scott McKenna on this near side. McKenna crossing halfway, Robertson to his left, McKenna continuing forward, finds Robertson. Robertson's low ball to McGregor. McGregor to Armstrong, back to Callum McGregor, left-footed ball out to the left-hand side. McKenna rolls it into the left inside channel for Robertson. He's just been out muscled there, and Armenia able to clear. It's out for a Scotland throw-in. and it's been taken quickly by McKenna. Back to Jack Hendry. Hendry then moves it left to right of the centre circle for Suter. Scots trying to play their way through. Christie looking for Adams. Adams is on it now. Slight challenge comes in, and it's an important intervention by Haroyan. Still it's Adams. Cross comes in and controlled, cleared by Ramyan. And Armenia able to play their way out of trouble with Tigran. Barsegyan helping out at the back, the right winger, and then a foul there by Jack Hendry on caught in by Ramran's a head knock. The two of them went in there. It was Jack Henry's such a tall guy, and he's gone up against a more diminutive player there, so there's no question that Jack Henry's gone in there, and it's an illegal challenge by him in any way, shape or form, because he's just having to, he's so tall, he's having to stoop, whereas the other guy's almost...
I don't know if he used his arm or not.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. It's maybe again it's the shoulder that the Armenians bounced off of rather than Jack Henry's head. I think we'd know about it. Jack Henry had hurt his head there as well. Anyway, almost 4 minutes into the second half, clearly Bayramyan's come off the worst out of the two of them, though he's okay. He's just getting himself sorted out. Got a touch of the Russell Brand about him, Bayramyan. I'm trying to think who he looks like. He's got the kind of long bushy hair with the beard. He's been told to get off the pitch just now. He'll be able to run back on in just a moment. 49 minutes in, still Scotland leading by 2-0. Of course, Armenia in March were shorn of by far and away their best player in Henrik Mkhitaryan, the former Manchester United, Borussia Dortmund and Arsenal midfielder who retired from international duty after 95 caps in March. Played his last game was against Germany last November. He's just won the Europa Conference League with Roma. Mkhitaryan not involved anymore. As Scotland come forward, here's McGinn, game on again. McGinn floats the ball into the box. Christie has it just taken away from him just at the last moment there by Ambart Sumyan, and out it goes for a throw into the Scots, taken by Robertson. And he bowls it back to McKenna, who finds Hendry. Hendry then stroking it out to Suter on the far side. Now back with Jack Hendry. Scots thought they'd got a third goal just before half-time. Scott McKenna's second was ruled out for offside by the video assistant, having opened his international account just a few minutes before that. Here's Robertson looking for McGregor, and he's found McGregor, though he just lost sight of it and allowed Haroyan to come across and defend it, and then it's knocked out for a throw-in by Hambert Sumyan, and it's come off the Scottish player last. In fact, it's come off Robertson. It's gone out for a throw-in as the Ukrainians take the lead at the Aviva against the Republic of Ireland. Viktor Tsigankov, who was a substitute tonight, he started last week, very good player. Dynamo Kiev wide man, and he has given Ukraine the lead in the other game in the group tonight. Republic of Ireland 0, Ukraine 1. And the Irish campaign is almost over before it barely started. They lose that one, and the Scots are in Dublin on Saturday. Now it is controlled well there by Ramyan into the midfield, but he loses it straight to Hendry. Now it's McGinn who finds Armstrong, who passes it back into his own half for Suter. Now it's with McGregor, 51 in, Scotland 2-0 up. Armstrong back in field for Suter, right of the centre circle, moves it to the left for McKenna. McKenna out to the touchline here for Robertson, and it's back with Jack Hendry. It's left to right of the circle for Suter again, out to Armstrong. They're weaving their way from one side to the other here now, bid to get through. Here's Ralston, crosses in, headed away is a decent one, and it's Scotland trying to continue to apply the pressure, but will be mopped up there by Hambert Sumyan into the centre circle, but it will fall for Suter. Suter coming forward, now he's found McGinn, now it's with Robertson. Robertson's midway inside Armenian territory, here over on this near side, rolls it out to the left for McGinn, crosses in, headed away by Haroyan, and controlled really well there by Barsegyan. And Armenia looking to hit in the counter. Barsegyan's got it back here, he's got support to his left if he wants it, driving forward, out to the left it goes. Barsegyan's continued his run, headed away by McKenna, and now it's Suter. Suter goes down, free kick Scotland, 52.5 in, Scotland 2, Armenia 0. I don't think there's any doubt that's Armenia's best break of the game.
I would think that's the only time that any of our defenders have actually had to think about defending in the game. And it was 2v2, and you know, eventually I think Scott McKenna is really cool and just, you know, playing the header down, but you know, that is a false reel. I think move forward that Armenia had had a bit of company, two players going up, and options of actually trying to, you know, beat our defence. So it was good defending, it was calm defending. They haven't been used to that tonight, so well done.
McGregor, the Scots, they attack the Armenia box again. Armstrong's pass is cut out though. Ramyan in possession. Moves it back in field to Weimar. And now it's taken away from the danger area by Mikoyan. No, he ran into trouble, but Armenia still have it. Christie was putting the pressure on. And then it's a free kick to Armenia in the centre circle for a foul there, and another one of the half-time substitutions. Bichadchan by Armstrong. And it's moved out to this near side for Hambert Sumyan. In field for Bayramyan. We played 53, almost 54, with the Scots still leading by 2-0. Well, it's not with the same pace about them in the second half so far, Scotland. Remember Ukraine going 1-0 up in Ireland tonight. Tsigankov with the goal as Robertson picks up and threads it forward here for Adams, who goes down. Scotland supporters want a free kick, they're not getting one. It's Haroyan's challenge. It's already on a booking, Haroyan. And the Scotland supporters making their feelings clear to the Austrian referee, but then Haroyan runs it out of the pitch on this near side, and that's a Scotland throw-in. He's injured his arm there, it's well bandaged, so injury picked up at the weekend. Haroyan, the skipper, back on his feet, back on the pitch. Scotland throw-in level with 18. Taken by Robertson to Christie, loses out, the break of the ball goes Jack Hendry's way. He's well up the pitch. McGregor finds Robertson, who runs into Hambert Sumyan and out for a throw into the Scots, which Robertson's looking to take quickly. We tick towards 55 minutes at the National Stadium. It's now with Hendry for Suter. Back-to-back away games coming up for the Scots now before the season officially ends. Dublin and Yerevan to come over the next 6 nights. Robertson finds Christie. Robertson goes in the overlap. Christie with the left foot digs the ball out. Ralston heads it back towards the penalty spot. It'll be taken away here by Weimar, but he's given it away. Here's McGregor. And it's back with Armstrong for Callum McGregor. Sets himself, control with the left. The shot is deflected out to the left-hand side for Robertson. Looking for Christie. Too much on the pass. And behind it goes for the goal kick. And it'll stay Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
Yeah, I think maybe Andy Robertson should have put the ball in the box. With 4 players inside the penalty box, he chose to try and play the ball into a runner, and he just overhit it.
It's a tight situation, isn't it? Most of the time when Scotland have got the ball just on the edge of the box, there's not many white jerseys in front of them, that there isn't enough a lot of room, and the passing so far has been accurate, but on that occasion it wasn't. And I think you're right, just maybe lofting it into the box would have been the right way there, but at the same time, Scotland have so much control of the game that you just got to keep doing what they're doing, just keep knocking on the doors, keep trying the passes, just keep moving Armenia, and you would think that eventually they'll get that third one. Do they really need it? Armenia have not shown anything in terms of a threat in front of our goal, so perhaps they won't need that third. But they're in total control of the game just now.
The first tiebreaker's the head-to-head, Willie. So the goal difference might not come into it as McGinn gets the cross in, and Christie's header's poor. He'll be really annoyed with that. He's 6 yards out, left-hand side of the 6-yard area, and he's away from the 2 defenders. But perhaps he's on his way to the ground. 57 in. Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
Was he trying to head that back across goal? I'm not quite sure, because it didn't look like he directed the ball towards the goals, did it?
Yeah,
maybe he was just off balance.
I think so, sure. Because I don't think there's another jersey up there for him to hit. If he was trying to header it back across the goal. Liam, I didn't say we didn't want another goal. It just says we maybe not need another goal.
No, and I was trying to amplify your point there by suggesting that if it comes to the head-to-head initially, then it might not be the tiebreaker, and if it's Ukraine that they're battling for top spot with, the next tiebreaker would be obviously the goals scored in those matches, i.e. the head-to-head. So the ones against Armenia are unlikely to be something the Scots will have to bother themselves with come the business end of this Nations League group, the end of September. Double header with Ukraine coming up there, playing their 2 home matches, home in inverted commas, in their next 2 games in Poland, in Łódź. We'll be playing the Armenians and the Irish in their 2 games. Scotland with trips to Ireland and Armenia coming up in their double header. 58 played here, they lead 2-0. Ralston and McKenna, the goal scorers. First goals for their country in the last third of that first half, as Robertson rolls it back the way to Scott McKenna, who finds Hendry. Hendry then rolling it to his right for Suter. Short ball back there to Hendry. He's moving forward and then turns it to his left there for McKenna, outside of the left boot for McGinn, and then out to this left hand side for Robertson, midway inside the Armenia half, to McGregor, who plays it straight off the referee. And as we say, if McGregor lost it, it would be an uncontested drop ball, but McGregor retains it, so advantage to the Scots. And it's with Suter, short ball to Armstrong, out to the far side for Ralston. It's away from his man, rolls it in field to McGinn. Good first time ball for Adams, who shoots, deflected behind corner. Good defending, good play, going up the gears.
Very good play. I thought that was an excellent move by Scotland. Very, very patient. Played the ball around at the back and just waited for the moment that they could open the game up. A great pass out to this side by McGinn to Andy Robertson, and then led back into the centre. A really good ball through for Adams and good defender.
Yeah, you've got to try and shift them, haven't you? There's so many bodies behind the ball that you've really got to try and take it from side to side and be patient. You know, Scotland can be patient. They've got the 2-goal lead. You know, it doesn't look as though they're going to be breached at the other end. But then it's about, you know, having the confidence and the ability as well to just pick that gap and that space, as McGinn did there for Adams to break through. But good defending as well. It was an excellent sliding tackle from the Ukrainian defender.
Yeah, it was the skipper, Armenia. And it comes, the goalkeeper's made a hash of it. It's Ralston looking for space to shoot. He does, it's blocked by Beimar there just on the 6-yard line. He manages to clear it. Man born in Colombia, yet playing for Armenia. Number 6 come on at half-time. And here's a break forward here for Armenia down that left-hand side with Vichakchan, who's being met by Robertson. He's popped up on the right-hand side of the Scottish defence to great effect because he's won it back. The Scotland captain, and then runs into trouble in the shape of Baramyan. The referee, he's in a good position. There's a couple of challenges on Robertson. Scotland win it back. Long ball. Adams gives chase. Too much on it. It bounces behind him harmlessly for the goal kick, and it will stay Scotland 2, Armenia 0 on the hour mark. Che Adams, he had that chance just a moment ago. He's been pretty quiet other than that, though. Can't really engage him in the game as they would like. He's actually got a terrific understanding from his club football with Stuart Armstrong as well. It'd be good to see that step up at some point.
It's a tough task though, Liam. If you look at them, they don't put any of the 3 central defenders forward. So, you know, Adams has got 3. Even when he's trying to make the runs in, he's tending to run onto a white jersey whenever he tries that.
But the thing is, Willie, the good thing about it is he's tying those players up, and he's giving Armstrong and Christie space to pick the ball up.
No, you know, I'm not saying that he's not doing a good job. I'm just saying it's really difficult for him. You know, because if you watch them, they just sit there. In fact, they just sit with 5 at the back. They never, they don't push any of them, you know, and take advantage of any space. In fact, you've got 3 marking nobody at this moment in time because Che Adams has moved out to the right-hand side.
Yeah, to be fair, I was meaning as far as getting goal-scoring opportunities and getting into goal-scoring positions are concerned. As far as Adams is concerned, he'd be disappointed with that. But yet, Craig's right. He's hauling the centre point of the Armenia defence around and allowing Scotland to exploit those wide areas, and they're trying to do so here with Ralston on that right-hand side, level with the penalty spot now, attacking the full-back. He's away from him, gets space, shuffles, crosses with the right foot. Robertson with the header into the 6-yard area. Hanoyan clears, and it's picked up on this near side but given away. Robertson has it back, level the 6-yard line, low ball, blocked by Hiroyan again, and Armenia get it clear. And they look to hit in the counter. Jack Henry is no slouch at all. That's brilliantly to get back, but he's lost it. And an opportunity here. And Armenia could be in for one back, and brilliantly defended by John Suter. Really good, because the Chan was in. Right hand side of the box. Hendry had slipped. He was bearing in Craig Gordon. And John Suter covers across and does magnificently well. 63rd minute, Scotland 2, Armenia 0. I've got a centre half either side of me just now. The man to my left knows John Suter better than any of us here, and that was magnificent defending.
Yeah, and he's improved year on year. That in particular. I mean, he's a...
Yeah, little ball in by Robertson into the path of Christie, couldn't quite get there, and Haroyan comes away with it. Craig.
Yeah, so he's improved that part of his game, and actually when you look at him now, he's a different shape altogether than he was 4 or 5 years ago, and he's worked really, really hard on his physique, and in those one-on-one situations, strength is really important. And he read that situation particularly well. I thought Jack Henry was unlucky. He seemed to slip. Because he'd recovered fairly well, didn't he, to get back to the...
Initially, yeah.
Yes, he did, yeah.
It's his positioning, though, because he knows that there's another Armenia player, square, and if
he's blocked that line.
He's blocked that line, but he can't block it that much that he's allowing the shot and goal either.
Absolutely.
So it's just a perfect position, brilliant, absolutely world class.
It is Armenia in possession here with Bayramian. Back the way, first time ball is played by Mikoyan, who is just outside his own box here. Scotland leading 2-0, 64 minutes played. The Scots looking to have a better Nations League than they did last time. They actually started the last one in pretty good fashion, but it was a disappointing conclusion to it. Most of it played, in fact all of it played pretty much behind closed doors. Open with a 1-1 draw with Israel. They beat a patchwork Czech Republic, and then they produced 2 excellent 1-0 wins over Slovakia and the Czechs. But Armenia are coming forward, looking to exploit them. Here's a shot, and Gordon holds on. Bukachan again. He found himself right hand side of the D, cut back onto the left foot and drilled the effort towards the left corner. Gordon flops to his right to save. It's an effort on target by Armenia. 64 and a half in. Scotland continue to lead 2-0.
I think the sad thing about Armenia is that you can see that they can play.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to say that. Well, I wonder what they're like when the shackles
just allow them to play.
Yeah, I know.
And you would have a game of football out there. The manager has got them shackled, and not allowing them to express themselves. Craig Gordon has done nothing all night. It was one that you would expect him to save, absolutely, but it's still a threat. We've been caught a couple of times on the break because they're playing more or less with 2 up front. If you can say it's 2 up front, because they still drop awful deep, but they've shown signs, Armenia, that they can cause us a problem or 2.
You know that they're not playing at the higher echelons of the Nations League, but they've only lost 3 of their 13 Nations League games coming into this one. As they come forward down the left again, trying to get in behind John Suter. He does well. A good challenge once more by the now Rangers defender as he came forward. He's actually back facing his own goal there as he slid in, used his heel to make the challenge on the man who got the winner against the Irish at the weekend, Spertian. Just hooked his heel in front of the ball to make the challenge. He's hurt Spertian as well. It's a Scotland ball with Craig Gordon right now, 66 in, 2-0 to the Scots.
They'll be enjoying that though, the back three, having something to do defensively. Would you not say that? And they've done it really well. I think John Suter in particular, but Scott McKenna's shown
they've all done
calmness
okay
as well.
Yeah. I mean, and while they're in the team, I'm pretty certain is their use of the ball, and that's been impressive as well. When the amount of times attacks have started from our back line, just about every attack actually, when I think about it. Yeah. So that's worked very well for Steve, definitely, and praise where praise is due, of course.
Of course, indeed. I'll clip that one up and send it to him later on, Craig. See if he phones and offers his thanks. Yellow card meantime has been flashed because there was a foul on Shea Adams over on the far side, and the yellow card has been produced again by the Austrian referee. This time it's Spertian, who probably annoyed with the previous challenge by Suter on him. A little push on Adams, and Scotland have a free kick a few yards from the far side, north stand side touchline, and it's beyond the midway point of the Armenia half, so it's a chance to attack the box here. They lead 2-0, 67 minutes on the clock. And it's McGinn and Ralston over it. Ralston leaving the scene. It will be John McGinn, left-footed, but the referee dramatically blowing his whistle. He's not happy with something he's seen inside the penalty area, and he's just trying to sort that out just now. It'll be a Scottish free kick. And normally when minnows come to town, they've done absolutely nothing in previous campaigns, but Armenia, as recently as 2014, were ranked 30th by FIFA, and we were only 4 points off second spot in Euro 2012 qualifying. So over the years, OK Mkhitaryan's no longer with them, but they clearly got something about them. Former Soviet state. The referee finally seems to be content with things inside the box. There's a big throng of players along the Armenian 18-yard line. It could work to Scotland's benefit here if McGinn can be on point with this free kick. 22 minutes left, 2-0 Scotland. In from McGinn, it's come off the defender, and it bounces back harmlessly to Yurchenko, the goalkeeper, and it will stay Scotland 2, Armenia 0. It remains Ireland 0, Ukraine 1. In the other game in this group, the Ukrainians had a goal ruled out by the video assistant in the first half as well. Viktor Tsigankov on at half-time, scored early in the second half in Dublin. And here it's Ralston and McKenna's goals in the first half. McKenna had one ruled out by the video assistant for offside. As we approach 69 minutes, Scotland 2, Armenia 0. I think there's going to be some Scottish changes quite soon. Aaron Hickey's been going through a fairly extensive warm-up down below us recently. Scott McTominay down there as well. Maybe Nathan Patterson too. Need to see him run out after a long spell out, injured, relatively long. Felt longer, just not getting his game as the goalkeeper Cruyff turns almost there against Adams, and they're in serious bother. It's Shea Adams now inside the box, picked his spot, blocked and taken away from him by Ramya, and it was almost in slow motion there. Scotland have it with Adams, dinked out to the right for Ralston. Ralston level with the 18-yard line, gets it back from Armstrong, turns it back to McGregor, who in turn goes back to Hendry just outside the centre circle. Heading towards the final 20 minutes. Armenia are going to make a change too. And they've already made 3. Here goes Ralston down the far side. Down towards the corner flag. He's managed to dig the cross out, and the goalkeeper gets there ahead of Che Adams. 70 on the clock. Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
He does really well to get that cross in though, isn't it? It's a really good cross too from Ralston down that right hand side. You know, I don't think it was ever going to land in Shea Adams' head. Goalkeeper came out and took it pretty confidently.
Scott McKenna might have given away a corner here, is he? No. I think the referee's going to give the Scots the decision. He was being chased there by Tigran Barsegyan. As he went after that, driving forward, he's another who plays in... Oh, he's actually the man who plays in Slovakia, Slovan Bratislava, as he drove forward there, putting McKenna under pressure. The first change here in this little spell of substitutions will be Armenia's, and they're going to bring on a midfielder in Solomon Udu, born in Nigeria, in his debut in the last Nations League against Estonia, and there'll be no repeat of his heroics against the Irish for Edward Spertian. Got the only goal against Stephen Kenny's team on Saturday. He is replaced by Udu, and the Scots are going to hang fire, but it will be a triple change by Steve Clarke, which is coming up shortly. 2-0 to the Scots, 71 minutes played, and it's Suter moving it back to Jack Hendry. These games are so important. We know how important they are. Scotland wouldn't have been at Euro 2020 had it not been for this competition. Let's not forget that. Here's John McGinn moving forward, ball forward for Adams inside the box, but Adams was in an offside position. 71.5 on the clock. Scotland 2, Armenia 0. Yeah, it really did take the pressure off, and it was a good job they actually finished top of their Nations League group and got that playoff semi-final, which, as it turned out, was at home against one of their group rivals, Israel, because they went on to endure one of the worst qualifying campaigns they've ever taken part in the modern era, if not all told, in that group with Belgium and Russia. And they finished third, but they were miles off it. That was the transition So Armenia clear. Comes off the head of McKenna, now it's with Hendry. Hickey, McTominay and Patterson all waiting to come on.
Well, they've went about the business, in the right manner tonight, haven't they? Certainly on the front foot, right from the start, creating opportunities, getting the 2 goals as well, moving the ball really slickly and still, passing the ball extremely well.
Here's McGinn on the turn, he's at the edge of the box, he has a go, it's blocked. Karoyan again, he's been the last line of defence a lot there for Armenia this evening. Big switch for the Scots, out to Robertson, left hand side of the box. 73 played, just about. Here's Christie, the edge of the area, flicks it with the outside of the left, and it goes past the right hand post, and it will stay. Scotland 2, Armenia 0, and it looks as though Steve Clarke will make those changes now.
Who do you think, Liam? Robertson and I think 2 wing backs might come off. Patterson.
He puts Hickey out to the left, where he's probably prefers. Does he, Craig? Prefers it on the left hand side?
I think he does. I think he just slightly prefers it on the left hand side.
He was on the right against Ukraine, but as I mentioned to Craig earlier on, Aaron Hickey played right back for Bologna in wins against Juventus, Lazio and Sampdoria this season, so it's not as if the right hand side is or has been alien to him recently.
That's why I hesitated, actually, because it's not an easy question to answer.
Yeah, he's 16-year-old, started at left back for you in a cup final, didn't he? He's so comfortable on either side. He can play in the midfield too, can't he?
Yes, he started off as a midfield player.
Anyway, the changes are not coming yet. He's holding fire as Steve Clarke. It's Armenia in possession, Scotland leading 2-0. It's picked up there by Ramyan, and then eventually shifted out to that left-hand side. There's Udu, who's just on. He's going to get it back here. Heading into the final 16 here at Hampden. Floodlights beaming down on the pitch, darkness beginning to fall as the free kick was Armenia's way over in front of the north stand on that far side. You're listening to Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland. We're on digital online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Republic of Ireland, Scotland to come up on Saturday, 5 o'clock kickoff. It's also a 5 o'clock kickoff in Yerevan next Tuesday. Armenia, Scotland. And the Scots, I hope it's as straightforward next week as it has been tonight. So firstly, Scott McTominay will replace Stuart Armstrong, and he'll go into the midfield. I think we're all delighted to see. And clearly the other 2 changes are going to be pretty self-explanatory, with Nathan Patterson coming on. First time in a while since he's played a game of football, isn't he? Part of a game of football competitively. And it will be Patterson for Ralston, who scored the opening goal and had a fabulous first half in particular. Always shows for it, such a confident figure these days. And Nathan Patterson replaces him, and Aaron Hickey will replace Andy Robertson.
Yeah, it's good to see the changes being made as well, and I don't think the side's been weakened in any shape or form, and it's young and enthusiastic players that are coming on too. So, and it's good to see McTominay in the midfield. I think with the choice that you've got now, Craig, at centre back, and you can play 2 different threes, proper centre backs, you don't really need McTominay back there, do you?
No, there's been an emergence of enough. McKenna really starting to find his form down at Nottingham Forest. We've got Jack Henry, who's over in Belgium, won the league. And we've got Grant Hanley, who's got loads of experience. I mean, we've got loads of players that can do that job.
Long ball for Ryan Christie. Can he control? Yes, he can. Little ball's clever. Adams on the turn. Big chance here for Adams. Right footed. He just couldn't dig it out. There was no flag either. Armenia clear. She wouldn't sit for him. Here's Patterson on the far side, moving in field along the 18-yard line. Back to McGregor, now with McTominay. McTominay rolling it back to Suter. Suter to McGregor. Forward it comes again into the penalty area. It's McGinn holding it up and turning it back out. He's got the skipper's armband now. Here's John McGinn. Here's McGregor for McTominay. McTominay rolls it along the grass out to Hickey on this near side. Then back into McTominay. Angle ball by the Manchester United man out to Patterson. He's barely seen any football at Everton since he made the move from Rangers. It's about 45 minutes, I think. Of course, Scotland have Calvin Ramsey coming through as well. Looks like he's just about to finalise a move to Liverpool. As the Scots give it away, and it's cleared by Udu forward into the Scotland half, controlled by McKenna though. And he works it out to that right-hand side for Patterson to McGregor. The final 13, Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
Yeah, just a Che Adams chance there, and he eventually gets his shot off. But there's 3 central defenders. We were speaking about it earlier. There's 3 central defenders marking him as he's trying to manoeuvre that one to get the strike in, and eventually one of them blocks it.
Another change coming up for the Armenians just shortly with their last one. McGinn turns it infield to McGregor. Back to Suter. Out to the touchline for McGinn as the rain falls again. McGinn's pass to Patterson's poor. It's cut out and Armenia had it back. Wasn't a great ball. They did get it back momentarily, but they've given it away again, and it's Armenia in possession on the near side. Low ball infield by Ramyan. And back to Haroyan, just the edge of his D. Rain falling quite heavily now. There is a yellow weather warning for Glasgow and down the west coast, southwest coast of the country this evening. Heavy rain and thunderstorms, which won't do you much good if you're having to walk back into Glasgow city centre this evening. If you want to be getting that last train from Mount Florida, you need to be thinking about in the next couple of minutes.
Liam, because you say it's yellow, is it because it's peeing down? I'm here all week.
Yeah. I'll try and continue here. Craig, you've still got it. As McTominay is clipped to the ground down in the near side. And it's a free kick to Scotland. See, that's the kind of thing you only get in Sports Sound. As McTominay passes it back to Jack Hendry. And then to Suter. If you're not eating your supper at home. Anyway, Scotland 2, Armenia 0, heading into the final 11 here. In this Nations League opener, it's McKenna forward to Christie. He's got an overlap coming from Hickey. Hickey's onto it, and he's away from his man, but it just evades him. He was behind for the goal kick. Big puddles forming down there as well, and you can see even on the pitch already the water jumping up when the players are making the runs forward as Hickey was there as we head towards the final 10 minutes with the Scots leading by 2-0.
It's horrible out there now, isn't it? I mean, really dinging down the rain. You know, it's not easy conditions to play in when you're trying to move it about. Thankfully, you feel that Scotland has got this game showing up.
A great run forward by McKenna. Here's Adams, might break to McGinn. It does, and he hits the crossbar with a first-time effort. Still alive. Patterson back for McGinn. He's on the slide, and Armenia will get it half away. Breaks to McTominay. His efforts deflected behind for the corner. How's John McGinn not scored there?
I think
he's wondering himself.
I think it's a save. We'll need to watch it. I think it is a save.
Well, the keeper's winking, so that suggests that it was a save by Yurchenko. In the final 10 minutes here, Willie, let's find out. We're getting a replay of it in front of us here. It broke to John McGinn, and
it's a save.
Wow. It's a finger.
He does.
In comes the corner. McGinn clips it towards the back post, and then it's Yurchenko punching it away. Hickey finds Callum McGregor. He's encouraged to shoot. He does. Deflected wide for another Scotland corner. They look for a third. Keeper hasn't made too many saves in this second half. Christie took a quick corner along the deck there. It's booted away. Has it gone out for another one? Is it just a throw? The corner has been given again. Christie spotting it up down in this near side. 81 on the clock in the driving Glasgow rain. Ryan Christie waits to take out-swinging corner coming up here from the Bournemouth man. Left-footed, and it comes. It's just a little bit too high for Hendry, and Armenia able to clear. It's a bicycle kick clearance out to this near side by Haroyan, and now it is with John McGinn winning it back for the Scots. Infield for McTominay. Adams desperately trying to stay on side. McTominay checks though and turns it back into the centre circle there for Suter. He finds Hendry. He finds McKenna. Throws it out to this left-hand touchline for Christie. I'd like another goal. 3-0 always better than 2, and let's give them a little bit more confidence ahead of going to Ireland on Saturday. We do feel, especially with Ukraine winning that game right now 1-0 up they are against the Irish. The Scots need at least 7 points, maybe 9 from these first 3 as they come forward. It's McTominay got in the road of that, was coming towards Christie inside the D. Armenia clear only as far as Patterson, who picks up on the left hand side. Hickey will get it now, level with the edge of the D still. Hickey rolling it back to McKenna. It's a square ball for Callum McGregor. Forward to McTominay, back to McGregor, and then out to Suter. 82.5, Scotland 2, Armenia 0. Closing stages, this First Nations League B Group 1 encounter here. And that's knocked away by the Armenians, cut out by Hendry, out for an Armenia throw-in. Over on the far side, Jacob Brown is going to get an opportunity for the final 7 minutes plus stoppage time. We've only seen him fleetingly. And Ross Stewart's going to come on as well. Sunderland striker has had a fabulous campaign in English League One. He'll make the step up to the Championship next season. He was a big hero at Sunderland this season. And he and Jacob Brown will come on. It's an interesting fact that as far as informed Scotland strikers are concerned, the only ones notably to get into double figures for their clubs this season, Jacob Brown's one of them. The other two were the forgotten man Chris Martin and Bruce Anderson of Livingston. Double figure goal scorers for Scottish strikers are concerned, and yeah, that goalkeeper produced a magnificent save to prevent John McGinn making it 3. There'll be a debut for Ross Stewart coming up in just a moment, and Jacob Brown is also going to make his way onto the pitch.
Yeah, but it's important that, it's important that, you get some time on the field of play, I think, particularly for Ross Stewart, isn't it? Making his debut, just getting on, just so that you can call yourself an international player. It gives you a certain standing within the game, and I think it's really important for your future.
He's a really good striker for Ross County, wasn't he? He had a poor spell at St Mirren before that, but he's made the most of his move to Wearside. Here's Aaron Hickey for the Scots, leading 2-0 the final 6 minutes of the 90. McTominay to Suter, and now McGinn on the turn. He's done well, couldn't quite work it through to Adams, picked up by Haroyan instead, and Armenia managing to play it out from the back. It's Udu on that far side. He's given it away though to Patterson, and it's McTominay. He finds Hickey. So it's 2 form strikers coming on for the Scots. 2 of that group of players I mentioned, double figure seasons. Here's Suter. Forward for McGinn in the box. McGinn goes down. The Scotland supporters want a penalty. They're not getting one, not right now anyway. Sure, they'll check it back. There's no real protest from John McGinn, to be fair. McTominay for Christie. Christie beaten to it there by Ramyan. And we're into the final 5 minutes of the 90 with Scotland leading by 2-0. The 2 subs waiting to come on down below us. Armenia in possession though. Down in this near side with Chat Chan, who had that chance earlier in the second half. It's the Armenians in possession here with Mubemar. Out to this right hand side, it's picked up by Hambert Sumyan, and then Barayman. And they've got options here, but they're all out on this near side. They're overloaded on the right, but they've managed to find Bayramyan again. Takes the touch through to the byline, but the flag's up, presumably for handball, and that's going to be a free kick down the near side. Certainly looked as though he was waving as if it was a foul rather than the offside, and that's going to be a free kick to the Scots, who lead 2-0, 86 on the clock, and now the double change will be made, and Ryan Christie will be replaced by Ross Stewart. And Christie, who many feel should have started against Ukraine last week, will come off having won his 30th cap this evening, Ryan Christie. And Ross Stewart comes on. A big cheer from the Scotland supporters. As I said, he's had a good season. Che Adams will be replaced by Jacob Brown, and the other change there. 22 goals Ross Stewart scored in 43 games for Sunderland this season. And he gets his debut wearing the number 9 as well. Proud moment for the Ayrshirman. Scotland leading this one 2-0. No pressure on him to score, but he would love to, wouldn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there is only, 4 minutes or so plus stoppage time, but that's what strikers are about, or they should be about. I know the modern day striker has to do a lot more, but surely the main point of being up there is to find the back of the net, and he's certainly done it this season.
He was never capped at any of the youth levels. He's the big striker.
I tell you, never make your mind up on a player.
Yeah.
You can make your mind up far too early in this game.
Sorry, I gave you the goal scoring statistic for Ross Stewart. That was the one from the previous camp. It's 26 and 53 for him this season as John McGinn picks up and shoots from the right hand side of the box and clips the roof of the net, and it goes behind for the goal kick, and it will stay Scotland 2, Armenia 0, heading into the final 2.5 minutes. He's come close to scoring. He can't believe he hasn't scored this evening, John McGinn. That time it's just over. He tries to add to his 12 international goals.
Yeah, he's in that particular situation, he's usually pretty good at hitting the target, isn't he?
He won't be able to believe he hasn't scored earlier, though, with the chance earlier and the goalkeeper save, touching onto the bar. But he's got himself into some good positions. His early shots weren't particularly impressive, but they've improved significantly, in particular in the second half.
Well, they do have another change available to them. Of course, they made 3 at the half-time interval, but Ramyan's going to come off to be replaced by Artak Dashan, who came off against Celtic when he was at Alashkert. He's at the champions Punic just now. Won his first Armenian title in the season that's just finished. His debut a heck of a long time ago. It's just his 9th cap. He made his debut in 2009. 88.5 on the clock. Callum McGregor's given it away. That's a collector's item, and Armenia could be in here on the right hand side here, trying to get on the left foot, and Craig Gordon saves to deny Ershegyan, who was driving towards the box. He was right hand side of the D as he tried to bend it low towards that bottom left. Callum McGregor's relief. It stays Scotland 2, Armenia 0.
Again, they've shown that they can go forward, but they're just not allowed to do it. They've only been allowed to do it, Armenia, in the second half when the game is kind of done. But they do have an eye for it. They've been disappointed in 2 or 3 occasions, though, when they've got in and around the box. The finishing hasn't been particularly good. Craig Gordon made a couple of good saves. John Souttar dealt with the breakaway extremely well too. But in these positions, I think they should have done better.
With Hickey on this near side, midway inside the Armenia half, back to McKenna, and now with Hendry, who finds Souttar. Final minute, almost the final 30 seconds of the 90. Scotland 2, Armenia 0. It's McGinn and Souttar exchanging passes. McGinn on the far side, now it's with Souttar, now it's with Hendry. John McGinn still putting in so much effort into this match. Long old season, here we are heading towards mid-June. He's still putting in the mileage. As Hendry finds McKenna. A professional footballer, it's now it's almost an 11-month season for everyone now. As McKenna turns it out to Hickey. Every time you come back into pre-season training, you're lucky to get a month off. McKenna for the Scots. 3 minutes of stoppage time, and into the first of them as Stewart lays it back to McTominay. Forward to McGinn. On the turn at the edge of the box, he shoots and it's deflected and it's held onto there by Yarchenko, and it stays Scotland 2, Armenia 0. He's had about 5 chances tonight, John McGinn. He's making them all himself, to be fair to him.
He's desperate to score, isn't he? And you're right, his movement's been good, his body positioning, he does hold defenders off really well, takes the ball in and then just turns quickly and almost in the turn hits the strike. But it's not testing the goalkeeper, it's not far enough away from him, there's not enough pace on it, but he has improved significantly, John McGinn, in front of goal. When he's been allowed to get a little bit further forward, he's done well in the second half.
He gave it the throw for Stewart. Now it's with McGregor, and now it's with McTominay in the centre circle. We are in the second minute of 3 that were added on at the end. Still Ukraine leading by 1-0 against the Republic of Ireland in the final minute of the 90 there in Dublin. Scotland 2-0 up here in the closing stages. McGregor back the way to Hendry, little cushion header for Souttar. Under pressure on that far side. He's run the ball over the line. And Armenia throw in. Looks as though the Scots are going to have to settle with the 2. See Wales getting beat by the Netherlands at home. Don't think they'll care too much about that, given what happened, albeit the Dutch, I think, have just... Wales equalised the second minute of injury time. The Dutch look as though they've won it in the 4th minute of injury time, having been 1-0 up going in to the stoppage period. That match in Cardiff. Here it's Scotland leading Armenia 2-0. And we're going into the final minute of the injury time here at Hampden. It's the Armenians in possession, wide on the right. Persegyan rolls it into the penalty area. McKenna and then Hendry having to be strong. McKenna taking his position at the centre point now, as the Scots look to just keep the clean sheet. 2-0's a lot tidier than 2-1. It really wouldn't be a fair reflection on the scoreline. Scotland have hit the post, they've hit the bar, they've had other chances. As Brown gives away the free kick, Armenia have taken it very quickly, and Bersegian moving towards the edge of the box, rolls it out wide right. Final 30 seconds here. It is with Bichak Chan. Short ball there to Humbert Sumyan. His pass is wayward with McTominay, and now it's Brown who's cynically side to the deck, and that'll be a free kick to the Scots, about level with the edge of the centre circle, and it's a yellow card for Bebemad as well, and it's going to be a free kick to the Scots, but there's barely time to take it. They lead 2-0.
Yeah, it's been a good night for Scotland, isn't it? Just exactly what they needed. They required this after the performance against Ukraine, and the fact that they weren't going to get the opportunity to participate in the World Cup. So it's a new campaign, and they've taken advantage of it, and it's been a bit of a sparkling performance from them.
Yeah, full time, and it's victory for the Scots in their first Nations League game of this campaign, the third incarnation of the Nations League, which has provided much fruit for the Scots in the past, and they've picked up 3 big points here, a week on from that World Cup playoff disappointment against Ukraine. Steve Clark needed a win tonight. He needed a good performance as well. He got both. He'd have liked more goals than they end up, given the disparity between the two teams across the match, but he is to settle for Tony Ralston and Scott McKenna's first international goals. Downward headers in the first half. McKenna hammered home what he thought was his second just before the interval that would have made it 3, but it was ruled out by the video assistant. The second half, after Armstrong had hit the post early in the game and Robertson saw a shot brilliantly saved, John McGinn smashed one off the crossbar. There were other opportunities as well, but this night belongs to Tony Ralston and it belongs to Scott McKenna. Maiden goals for their country. Ralston's case, his first start for his country, and it's a very satisfactory evening for the Scots, who now head to Dublin and Yerevan to close out the season, and they'll hope to be picking 9 points out of 9 up at the start of this Nations League campaign. It finished at Hampden. Scotland 2, Armenia 0.